Okay, I took my microphone off. Can you guys hear me now without the microphone? Is this like really bad? This hearing me this way. Let me try my microphone one more time. Okay, I just unplugged the microphone again. I don't know what's going on with the microphone. Okay, so no microphone tonight. I don't have the microphone. You guys can hear me, right? I'll wait till someone puts a 1 or something. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully the sound's not horrible without the microphone, but I don't know what you guys heard or didn't hear. I'm thinking maybe you heard nothing. But I was saying, well, let me say hi to everyone again. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys heard that in the beginning, but hello, Misfit. Hi, Allie Cattails. Good to see you. Clumsy, of course, good to see you. Edward, Grateful Ed. Let me see. Roxanne, K-Braze, Richie, Elisa. Let me see who else. I'm losing my voice because I'm yelling now. Princess Megan, Elsa. Daleen, oh, good to see you again, Daleen. So, or Deleen. Oh my God, it's Deleen. Sorry, but I got it right the second time, or it might have been the third time. Okay, so I think I have everyone, and it's Deleen. I remember because of the computer. That's how Lady V got me to remember. And yay, clumsy. Okay, so I said it before, but 6 months. Whoop whoop. And the ARF. Okay, what I was saying about ARF. So we do have the sticker, but it's the emoji. We have Shiloh, my dog. So here, right there, or I'll put more in there. So whenever Clumsy wants to bark or misfit, we can put Shiloh. And I was saying that if you guys don't know what the barking is about, Clumsy likes to do that on her channel. And so, yeah, so Shiloh goes well with that. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just go to Clumsy's channel and you'll know what I'm talking about. Clumsy, you can drop it in the chat. But anyways, yay. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Probably not, Edward says I'm hilarious. Probably not, I'm probably like not intentionally hilarious though, like on where I'm not trying to be. It's probably that way. So I don't know if I should say thank you. Yes, your Valerie is here. Okay. Clumsy. Oh my God, if Alsane was here, he'd be laughing at me so much. Yeah, you see, I put on my thing, mute it, question mark, and then because I do it so often. The Lady V likes to call us boomers. But okay. So I think that was enough. Everyone in chat, everyone who knows about the case, can you put a 1? If you don't know about the case, can you put a 2? And if you know a little bit about the case, put a 3. I know there's a lot of people that were here the other night, so there's probably going to be a lot of 1s. So yeah, 1, know about the case. 2, don't know about the case. And 3, a little bit about the case. Just because I want to see how much I should go back into the beginning. Richie, yay, 1 month. Chubby Cat says be kind. Valerie, do you have a chubby cat or you mean my cat Bowie? Because my cat Bowie, he's definitely a chubby cat too. Chubby cats are the best. Hey Dom S, good to see you. Misfit. Maybe I should rename Bowie and just have it say Arf Arf instead of Bowie. Hey, Kentucky. Oh, we still need to do the Maui live. I don't know if you want it to come up for that, but I'm still definitely wanting. I'm so still focused with what's going on with Maui and my thoughts on it, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So I still want to do that. And I don't know if you want it to come up because I know you said that you had a lot of opinions on it too. So I still want to do the Maui live for sure. Okay, so I'm seeing twos, I'm seeing threes, I'm seeing ones. K-Braze, I thought you were here the other night. Were you not? Maybe you were here in the beginning. Okay, threes. Roxanne, yes, I know you were here. Okay, one. Okay, so I guess I'll start from the beginning, but not like the crazy beginning, because I know you guys were here for a long time the other night. So let me see. The one in the profile pic. Do you mean this one? Hold on. Do you mean this one? Is this the cat you mean? Hold on. You can't really see him here. I don't think you mean this one, but he does eat too much. Okay, so I'll start with then, since some of the people here don't know much about it, I will play a short video and then I'll read an article, and then we'll go into some of the testimony as well. Well, here, first I'm going to actually read an article. So okay. Let me know if you can see my screen, please. Okay, man accused of pushing Hollywood sex guru off balcony blames her for fatal fall. Amie Harwick, 38, and she was they keep wanting to talk about how she was engaged to Drew Carey, and it says a lawyer for the accused killer of Dr. Amie Harwick presented a novel defense, arguing that the victim accidentally fell from her own balcony as she tried to flee the defendant. Gareth Pursehouse, 45, is on trial in LA Superior Court for the February 15th, 2020 murder of his 38-year-old ex-girlfriend, who was once engaged to Drew Carey, and she also wrote the New Sex Bible for Women. In opening statements, attorney Evan Franzel said a defense expert will justify using simulations that Harwick may have plunged to her death after scrambling over the railing of the third-floor balcony and finding Pursehouse in her Hollywood Hills home. So they're saying that she was the one that fell to her death, the prosecution is saying that he threw her off the balcony after strangling her, but the defense is saying a whole different story. So it says, in a panic, she runs to her bedroom, to her balcony, climbs up and over the railing, attempts to lower herself and climb down, and is unsuccessful and falls. Franzel told jurors on Tuesday. And here's a picture of her. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm showing right now. I don't know if you can. Hold on. Let me see on StreamYards. Okay, yes, you can. Okay. And it says Gareth Pursehouse defense lawyer presented photos to jurors Tuesday to suggest that Amie Harwick may have accidentally fallen from her balcony. In the first photo, Harwick poses on the ledge of her third-floor balcony. The second is a defense expert's simulation of how she may have fallen to her death after losing grip on the balcony railing. And the the prosecution kept saying how she was very familiar with being on here, that she did a lot of modeling shoots up here, and that she would not have fallen off of there. He also displayed a photo of the glamorous doctor wearing a lace bodysuit and posing previously on the balcony's ledge. You'll see that she had a certain comfort level with the balcony railing. You'll hear that she was an athletic, acrobatic person. Harwick had been out with friends, and one of the friends is who I'll play tonight that was on the stand. It's a very emotional testimony, but she talks about their last hour together. Harwick had been out with friends when she returned home, and also the last person that she texted was just a couple minutes, sadly, before she was murdered. When she returned home after 1 a.m., Pursehouse, whom she had broken up with, it was all the way back in 2012. So this was almost a decade ago, because this had now been in 2020. So they had been almost broken up 10 years. Had been lying in wait for her for 4 hours. So by lying in wait, he had broken into the house hours earlier and was waiting there for her to get home. He broke in on Valentine's Day and was waiting for her. A struggle ensued in the third-floor bedroom, where police later found her torn necklace, and her roommate awoke to the piercing sounds of screams. And the roommate said on the stand that it was blood-curdling screams. And he yelled, "Mother effer, leave her alone." The roommate said he yelled from the first floor before running next door to call for help. And also, the roommate said on the stand that he couldn't find his cell phone anywhere. So I don't know if he just lost it, or if the defendant, I don't know if I should say his name or what, but if he moved his cell phone, because he couldn't find his cell phone or his keys. So I don't know if he ended up moving his keys, like, so that they wouldn't be able to call for help and leave, or what. But so he ended up having to jump a fence to get to the neighbors and call for help. It said all Pursehouse wanted to do was talk to Harwick, after a chance encounter with her a month earlier had sent him spiraling into a deep, debilitating depression, Franzel told jurors. So yes, what happened, and I spoke about this on the last live. They had been broken up almost 10 years, so it was over 8 years. He still had this obsession with her. She had gotten restraining orders. Those already had expired, but he was still obsessed with her. He was still reaching out to her, but they hadn't seen each other in 8 years. And then they were at an event, and they ran into each other. And then after running into each other, within 2 weeks, he had killed her, allegedly. So a deadly dose of nicotine was in a syringe, which was later found on the balcony. But Franzel implied that Pursehouse had bought the fatal connection to use on himself, not her. So the defense for him is saying that he was planning on using it on himself to S himself. He set the chain of actions into motion that led to her death, but the evidence will show that he never intended on killing her. And it says, Deputy District Attorney countered that Pursehouse murdered Harwick in cold blood because he was obsessed with her and wanted to punish her for cutting him off. And here's the syringe of nicotine, which I have never heard of this before. If anyone in chat has ever heard of a case where someone brought a lethal dose of nicotine, I'd love to know. Like, I'm sure it's been on crime shows and stuff, but I've just never heard of it. So I don't know. I'd love to know if anyone's heard of it. The pair lived together. So some things were saying they're only together for a couple of months, and then other things are saying a little over a year. So this says the pair lived together for over a year in 2010. After they split, Harwick had to get a restraining order. A chance reunion in January 2020 reignited Purshouse's obsession. He was working as a photographer at an event for an adult film stars, and happened to spot Harwick there. And so two people from that, one was an adult film star. She happened to speak about it, and I had her talk. I showed her testimony in the last live. I could show it again, and there's also a male that spoke, and I haven't shown him yet, that I'll definitely show tonight. The sighting sent him in a rage, and he began berating her. He said, "You ruined my life, bitch." I don't know what I could say on here. He shouted. Adult film star Aspen Jamison, that's who I showed, who witnessed the confrontation, testified on Wednesday. The encounter deeply worried Harwick, who later blocked Purshouse's number and told friends she feared for her safety. So let me see what you guys are saying before I keep reading. I've been reading for a long time. Oh, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Let me see. I missed a lot of what you guys. Oh, Mama Bear. Hi, good to see you, Mama Bear. I'm scrolling up so I can see what I missed with everyone. Mama Bear says, "Oh, I'm happy. Well, I don't want to say I'm happy you couldn't sleep, but I'm happy that you're here." Yeah, so I'm really happy you're here, but I'm sorry you couldn't sleep. I'm seeing what else you guys are saying. Yes, who carries a syringe of nicotine on them? Has anybody ever heard of that in a case? That's just crazy to me. Aw, Misfit, you've been a member for 6 months. Aw, Mama Bear, you're happy you couldn't sleep tonight. Well, of all nights, I'm happy it was tonight. So here, let me get back to this. Okay, so it says her premonitions came true. So this is what's so freaky, and I brought this up last time. So she had a premonition. She even told her mother, if I die, and this was literally like right before she died, that I want to have an open casket. Like she said, like how she wanted her makeup done, and she wanted like I don't know if it was a sculpture or a statue of her cat. And it was just, she said all these intricate details of what she would want at her funeral. And she's only 38, so it's not like she's someone that is on their deathbed. So it's just weird that she was saying all these things, but she had also written in her, like, written in a letter to herself. She didn't send anyone about her fears that night when she saw him. So I can see if I can find that letter, but it says and she told her friends, if I die, it's my ex-boyfriend that killed me. If I ever die, it's my ex that killed me. It says her premonitions came true. Avila told jurors that Harwick returned home that night after her murder. Pursehouse allegedly strangled her as she tried to claw his hands from her neck. After the roommate yelled out, Avila said Pursehouse panicked, took Harwick's injured body to the balcony, and dropped her to the death before fleeing. The fall shattered her pelvis and left her with brain and liver damage. Sorry, I can't talk right now. She died later that day at the hospital. And here it just shows where her bedroom was. And this is where her roommate's bedroom was. And he was able to hear, even though it's a pretty big distance. And it was, I believe, an over 4,000 square foot house. So it's a pretty large house, that they were still able to hear everything. And they probably wasn't that thin of walls, because it was a really nice house. So it just shows like how loud the struggle was. I mean, it showed she had defensive wounds all over like her hands. So she really did fight back. It says, meanwhile, Pursehouse returned home, and this I can't believe. He asked another woman out the next day. To go out with him the next day, who he had been seeing, to drop by. The two spent time. Oh, I didn't know this part. So they actually spent time for several hours before he was arrested. So that part I did not know. I knew that he asked someone to go out. I didn't know that he actually hung out with her. Hi, Thistle. Good to see you. Can you guys believe that he actually was with another woman the next day? So that is everything here. It's just another Drew Carey quote, but that doesn't matter, I don't think. But here, I really want to show the body cam footage. The body cam footage is actually really sad. Well, actually, before I do that, in case anyone doesn't know about the case who's here, let me show that first. And it goes also into how they want to change domestic violence laws, her friends. Please let me know if you can see it and if you can hear it.
Shocking and brutal murder of a popular Hollywood sex therapist.
Dr. Amie Harwick was killed at her Hollywood Hills home after a fall from a third-story balcony.
Amie Harwick's death making worldwide headlines, a tragic end to an inspiring life lived in the spotlight. She was engaged for a time to Drew Carey.
She was like quirky, fun, interesting, just beautiful, smart, accomplished.
Was a successful sex and relationship therapist.
Gender is a socially constructed idea.
She was an incredible influence in modeling healthy relationships, appropriate boundaries, empowerment. She, in my opinion, was a strong, fierce feminist.
In public, she seemed to have it all. But in her private life, she would tell friends and authorities that for years she was stalked and harassed by her ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pershouse.
She definitely was concerned because he was really actively harassing her.
Her worst fears apparently came true last February when Gareth allegedly strangled her and threw her off a third-floor balcony. He's now charged with her murder.
And in this video, we're going to talk about relationship jealousy. It can even lead to violence, or, for example, the O.J. Simpson case, it can lead to death.
The devastating irony of Amie's own words haunting her friends and family as Amie became an apparent victim of the very brutality she worked to help women escape.
Really successful and accomplished women can still be the victims of domestic violence and intimate partner violence.
Across the U.S., preliminary data suggests that intimate partner violence has only increased during the COVID-19 pandemic, with millions confined at home and tensions running high.
There are a lot of stressors that are adding to the volatility in households. And all of those factors do increase the likelihood of intimate partner violence, particularly if you add on top of that the isolation and knowing that there's nowhere for your partner to necessarily escape to.
If we can update the laws so that more women can get help, more women can get out of these situations, and more women are saved from further violence, I think that's the best legacy for what's happened.
This is Dr. Amie Harwick, licensed marriage and family therapist.
Amie became a therapist with one goal in mind, helping others. Offering advice on YouTube, she worked to empower women, especially those in abusive relationships. On her path to becoming a therapist, she lived a wild, eclectic Hollywood life.
She would go dance at big nightclubs like in a cage. She would do fire performances.
Paying her way through grad school by working as a model and dancer, landing gigs like this, seen on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, all the while earning her master's in psychology and PhD in human sexuality. The night of her death, Amie was celebrating Valentine's Day with friends. Her best friend, Robert Koshland, tells us she returned to her Hollywood Hills home around 1 a.m., unaware that, according to police, someone had kicked in a door and was lying in wait inside.
She encountered him somewhere in the house. He choked her with his hands, apparently.
Her screams waking up her roommate, who called 911. But before police arrived, Amie was thrown from her third-floor balcony, police finding her on the ground, gravely injured. She later died at the hospital of blunt force trauma and strangulation.
I talked to the police. They said, is there someone that you know that could have done this? I was like, oh, yeah, it's Gareth.
And what made you think it had to be him?
I think that it's scary that they knew like right away that it had to be the ex-boyfriend, and also just that he strangled her, like that's so personal. And usually when someone does get strangled, it usually is like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girl. It's usually someone that they were with when it's strangled because it's so personal. It's not like they used a gun where they were 10 feet away from them. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but here, let me press play. Hopefully you heard what I said and I'm not having volume issues again.
Because she'd been talking about how, if anything happened, it would be Gareth.
Gareth Pershouse was Amie's ex-boyfriend, the 41-year-old photographer, software developer, and aspiring comic.
Hello, everybody.
Dated Amie on and off nearly a decade earlier.
She said he was abusive and a terrible person.
She ended the relationship, but Amie's friends said he wouldn't let her go, reportedly stalking and threatening her long after the relationship ended. Amie getting a temporary restraining order in 2011, describing their relationship in court documents as violent. He has suffocated me, punched me, slammed my head on the ground, kicked me. Amie also telling friends Gareth tried to intimidate her.
Whenever she'd apply to jobs, somehow Gareth would know and then would send the employer these nude photos of her. And I know she had lost multiple jobs because of it.
9 months later, after Amie said Pershouse threatened that things will get worse, she then got another restraining order that expired in 2015.
Did she ever consider going to reapply?
She said that there was no way that she could get it because she couldn't document it.
If you've had a restraining order against somebody, chances are that person has really traumatized you. And even after the expiration, that trauma doesn't go away. And you're always going to be looking over your shoulder to see if that person's there.
Through all the torment she was enduring, Amie maintained a confident exterior, helping patients like model Emily Sears.
I had some residual trauma from the fact that I actually had a stalker myself quite a long time ago, and it was somebody that I had quite an abusive relationship with. So it's just hard to think that, like, the whole time me sitting across from her, like, you would never think that it would end up happening to her.
But privately, Amie's friends say she was constantly on alert. Her worst fears may have come true last January. After 8 years of avoiding Purse House, there he was. Amie posing for cameras on the red carpet at an awards show in Hollywood. As she goes over to talk to the press, you see Purse House, who was there photographing the event, pass by. Friend and fellow therapist Hernando Chavez was there with Amie that night and says the situation quickly devolved.
I didn't know who it was at the time, but I did hear a couple of things like, "You broke my heart. What are you doing here? How could you be here?"
Amie left the event, later telling her friend she was scared.
She shared with me how she was trying to de-escalate the situation, that according to her, she said that he started yelling, that he was calling her names, that he was really sort of scaring her. And then the next day, she texted me and said, "He found my number online and he's contacting me."
Less than a month later, Amie was dead. Police arrested Purse House, charging him with murder and first-degree burglary. So many questioning if getting another restraining order could have made a difference.
I don't really think getting another restraining order would have made a difference, but I don't know, because I really think, like I said, I have had one in the past, and I'll go over that more in a member's side probably, but I mean, it kind of really is just a piece of paper, and if, say, she did have it at that moment, it wouldn't have done anything in that moment with him there. So, and I know Edward had brought up about I think it was Edward brought up about if she had a bodyguard. I mean, I could only see that being able, like, the roommate I know wasn't, not that I'm blaming him or anything, but I mean, besides her having a bodyguard or something else, like, I don't know what else she could have done in that moment, really. But let me press play.
Even this last time she ran into him and he was acting all crazy, I said, "Can you re-up the restraining order?" And she's like, "Well, he didn't actively threaten me."
I think people don't realize how common this is. I mean, for every time it makes the news with somebody like Amie, there's hundreds of women being killed that don't make the news.
Experts say getting a restraining order can be an emotionally and legally challenging process, now more than ever.
It requires that there be a face-to-face interaction between the victim and the offender in court. That can be terrifying and traumatizing to a victim, particularly if they've just broken up with somebody and they're being stalked.
Amie's friend started a petition that now has nearly 300,000 signatures calling for new laws to protect women, including one that would keep restraining orders active until the victim requests it to be canceled.
Why are we trying to better police the behavior of the stalker instead of putting the responsibility on the woman or man, in some cases, who's being stalked?
Amie's friends hope new laws would help prevent another tragedy.
Protective orders aren't long lasting. You have to keep going back and showing, there's a threat, an immediate threat to your personal safety. They should be long lasting, if not permanent, for a serial stalker situation.
Purse House is being held without bail after an escape attempt. He's pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial, facing the death penalty or life in prison if convicted. But the life he's accused of taking continues having a far-reaching impact.
We'd like this to be a legacy for her because she did so much to empower women to leave toxic relationships, that this should be something that we can do for her.
This was a strong, empowered, feminist woman who was going to change the world. And I thought she was going to change the world throughout her life, but it may be that she's going to change the world through her death.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download.
So I hope that they can get that passed, because I think a lot of people will be able to. I think if they don't have to, because like I said, it does expire after a certain amount of years. I mean, like I said, in that moment, I don't think it would have done anything. But as they said in there, people don't want to have to, it is a lot of work having to see your abuser. So if it could just go until someone wants to stop it, I think that would, if that law does get passed, I think that would be a really great law to have. Because I do think that is a lot of the reasons that people sometimes don't get restraining orders, is because they, one, don't want to have to deal with the whole court process. And then on top of that, having to go face to face and see that person and tell the court what happened is just too much. And then having to do that every couple of years. So that's why I think if they have this law, that would be great. But here, let me show the body cam footage. I think everyone now pretty much knows about the case. So that this is really sad, the body cam footage. And I think the cops really treat the roommate. They're not kind to him at all. But let me know if you can see it. And then let me know if you can hear it as well, please. I know it's dark. Sorry that it's dark.
And then you're gonna make a right on Longview, I think. Yeah, right. Should be coming up. This is it. And then now there's gonna be on the first right. Right? Yep. 650 or both. 2086. 2086. I think it's gonna be up here. Yes, sir. I can help you.
I'm going to pause it right here at 1 minute and 6 seconds of the video. Now, do you see the date at the very top corner? It says 2/15/2020.
Yes, sir.
Is that the correct date when this video is being recorded?
Yes, sir.
And now it says, as far as the time, it says 09:25 and 27. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know why it gives that time?
We implemented a new body-worn video system since the time of this video, and during this time of the body-worn video, we were on Greenwich Village Mean Time, which is an atomic time zone.
So it's from that particular time zone, you have to calculate what that time would be in Los Angeles.
Correct, which is 7 hours ahead.
So then would this be 1:25 in the morning?
Correct.
Hey, Aussie.
So instead of that 9, you have that 1. It would be 1:25 in the morning.
Correct.
I'm going to continue playing the recording.
I know it. I heard it. She's screaming. She's thrown to the ground. I couldn't find my phone. I couldn't find anything.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so you have access to here? No. Is there anybody else inside the house?
My roommate.
Just your roommate by yourself?
Yes. You didn't check on her? Dude, I heard screaming. I don't know if that guy had a gun or a knife. I came running I couldn't find my phone.
So is there somebody else inside?
Yes. So I think there's.
Okay, sir, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Calm down. Calm down. Other than your roommate, is there anybody else inside the house?
I don't know. I don't know. So you didn't see anyone? No, I just heard her screaming.
Have you called?
I threw him to the ground. I've been calling for her through his windows. Nobody's answering. Nothing.
Hey, let's get an additional unit. Yeah, I know, but.
Maybe we can if you want.
Yeah,
but we're gonna go in there.
Yeah, I know. 615, can I get an additional unit for speed?
So you were essentially locked out. Yes. I mean, I can hop the fence, but I mean, my keys are left in the house. I was in the middle of a sleep.
So why is this? Why can't we get in here?
Hi, Lori.
Listen, sir. You need to relax a little bit so that we can get all the information.
I can't believe like how you'll see it gets worse. They are being so rude to him. And this is Amie's roommate who just heard her screaming and thrown to the floor. And they like are acting like he's a suspect. Like I get that they don't know who he is, but they're just watch. I won't say too much yet, but just I'm gonna see what you guys think.
Okay? Okay. So how are we gonna get? How are you planning on getting back in here?
I don't know. I guess hopping the fence and getting my keys.
Let me stop it right there.
I hopped the fence and I cut myself on that.
Just before we move on, looking at page 5, line 4, did this gentleman tell you that he heard screaming? It sounded like she got thrown to the ground.
Yes.
And continue to play the recording.
So you hopped the fence to get out as well? Yes, yes. I couldn't. I'm in the middle of sleep. I don't know how many people are in there. I don't know if he's got a weapon or what. I'm trying to knock on neighbors' doors. Nobody's answering. I don't have a phone. He was walking by. And I had here's a deep breath from you, all right? What? You don't have a lot of time. I mean, well, I mean, you don't know there's stuff in there. But I was supposed to get in.
Well, sir, so how are we supposed to gain entry into this place?
I guess hop the fence with me. We'll go around back. The back door's open. Let's go.
Yeah, he's so frantic.
Where's your key at?
Inside, downstairs. The back door's open.
So you came out and came up this way?
Yes.
Hey, partner, we're gonna have to jump it. We're trying to find a better place that we can jump it.
Thank you, Mama Bear.
How long ago did you last hear from her? We're gonna have to go right here. You hold this. Dude, this is. Yeah, so we have a lot more gear than what you're wearing.
I think that's a really good point, Edward.
Well, that'd be great if we could get. Nice. Yeah. If you get your knife cut, can you cut that? I just can't see where my footing is going. Sir, can you wait a second? I'm waiting for my partner. You need to calm down. Yeah, here, hand me yours too. It's like impossible. Watch out, there's a tree above you. Put your head. Use it as a branch if you need to. Don't use this isn't solid. Here. You're good. You're good. 16:15. Advisor responding. So we had to hop the fence. We're going to be at the rear of the location.
Right there, 6 minutes and 10 seconds. At this point, you say on line 26 of page 7, 6815 advised the responding units that we had to hop the fence. We're going to be in the rear of the location. Who are you providing that information to?
To the additional unit that we requested, as well as any supervisors that were responding to the location.
As well as what?
As well as any supervisors that were responding to the location.
And when you met Mr. Michael Herman, who's on the video, how would you describe his appearance?
He was disheveled. He also had his shirt. He was wearing a white shirt with blood stains on the lower abdomen of the t-shirt, as well as like his chest as well.
Okay, did that cause you any concern?
I was concerned, yes.
How so?
Because we had very limited information based on the radio comments or the comments of the radio call. So we get there and he's saying that he lives inside, but no way to access it, and he has blood all over his shirt, and but no way to access the house. He's saying he lives there, no identification. So we were being cautious.
Let's continue playing the recording. Thank you.
Sir, come here. Come here. Relax. Take a seat. Take a seat.
This is so heartbreaking because I'm pretty sure this is when he's just like seeing Amie's body. There's only a couple seconds left.
What was going on tonight?
I've been asleep all night.
Do you know if there's anybody else inside the house?
I don't. What happened to you?
Pause.
But yeah, that's what I think it sounds like because he's saying like, oh my God, oh my God. Hold on, it's still playing something. But to me, where he's freaking out, that's what it sounds like. He just like they just stumbled onto her body because that's when the body cam goes out. So I don't know that, but that part is rough, definitely. Yeah, that's where she was. That's when she was thrown over. He heard her thrown over, and I think they walked over to the spot where she was. Hi, butterfly kisses. I may be falling asleep listening. I haven't been sleep. Oh, I'm sorry you haven't been sleeping. But if you fall asleep, I could put on that doctor sleep and you can go to sleep if you want. But I don't want everyone to go to sleep. But he does make good points about this case. And if anyone's new here and haven't heard about this case, this talks about, you can read this real quick and you guys can get familiarized with it. Because there are some newer people in here right now. So I'll show something really short about it since there are some newer people in here right now. And I saw Clemsy sharing the petition to get the Justice for Amie law passed. And I also have it pinned. So if anyone wants to sign it, I'm sure that would really go a long way. Because if we could get to the amount of signatures and get that passed, I think that's a law that is really important. It's something that I didn't bring up last time. So his father, Gareth's father, was also arrested for being a stalker. So here, let me share this, but it's crazy that his father was also arrested. Let me see. Here, I'll just play this real quick, though, just in case there's anyone new in here that wants to see something real quick about what the case is about.
Tales about the death of a prominent Hollywood therapist and former fiancé of comedian Drew Carey.
You could put it
38-year-old Amie Harwick was killed Saturday at her Hollywood Hills home. The case raises questions about domestic violence and stalking. Her former boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse, has been charged with her murder. Carey, who hosts The Price is Right, of course, says he's overcome with grief.
Thank you,
Heather
Deli.
Moriarty talked with people close to Harwick about her final moments for this week's 48 Hours.
Safety is important. So feelings of personal safety, emotional safety. If we don't.
Amie Harwick's best friend, Robert Koshland, was texting with her just before she died 1 week ago.
I sent her my last text at probably 11 o'clock at night. She responded to me at like 1:01 a.m.
Minutes later, police found Amie near death under a balcony at her home. She had injuries consistent with a fall, and the coroner says there was evidence of strangulation. Amie's ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse, was arrested and charged with her murder.
She was like, if I ever disappear or if anything ever happens to me, it's him.
Amie had ended her relationship with Pursehouse years ago. But just last month at a professional event, she had a chance encounter with him. That's Pursehouse there.
He came like over to her, all like yelling at her. He was yelling in her face, saying, "You ruined my life." Created a giant scene, sobbing, wailing.
Their past relationship had been rough. Amie had
So it kind of seemed like a regular toxic, abusive relationship where he was screaming at her and then he was crying, yelling at her like, "You ruined my life, bitch," and then was crying and sobbing. So like back and forth. But here, I just finished playing this.
filed for restraining orders against him twice, detailing physical abuse. The last one expired in 2015.
She was afraid because he had acted so crazy. So she had always been afraid that he might do something violent.
Amy's friend and fellow therapist, Hernando Chavez, was there when she ran into Pursehouse.
He looked upset, in duress. She was trying to soothe and calm, and he was agitated.
Was she scared? After that confrontation, even though she was calming him down, was she scared?
She was.
Scared of what?
Scared of the what ifs.
Amie Harwick was devoted to helping people.
All of these things can be focused on as ways to care about yourself, to build on yourself.
But her friend, Ashley Willis, says there was another side of her.
She was very creative and artsy.
She was a dancer, a photographer, even at one time a fire eater, and now a terrible loss. Her friends wonder what more could have been done to protect her.
What will you miss about her the most? Is there one thing that you just think?
Her, just her. I hear her voice in my head.
And Erin Moriarty joins us now from Los Angeles, where she's still working on this story. Erin, good morning.
Good morning. This is such a sad story, Anthony. It really is. The more I get to know Amie Harwick, the more I wish I had known her.
Yeah.
She's an impressive young woman.
Hey, Erin, do we know why, after that recent encounter with Pursehouse, her ex-boyfriend, which was so confrontational, do we know why she didn't go to police again to get yet another restraining order?
Well, she talked about it with friends, but she's a therapist. She deals with victims and she knows how the system works. And it's not always easy to get an order of protection. You have to show that there is a pattern. You have to show that your stalker really poses a threat. And we know that there was just one encounter, and she told her friends that he didn't actually threaten her. She calmed him down. So I think she decided, and she did, she added cameras. She had a roommate. I think she decided to focus on the security in her home, and it just didn't work.
Erin, Drew Carey, her former fiance, has said he's overcome with grief, and in a statement to CBS said that they had a love that people are.
Have a good night, Richie. Thank you for being here. And you said petition is signed. I hope your appointment goes okay tomorrow with the orthopedic surgeon. If you have to have surgery, hopefully it's okay news tomorrow with your orthopedic surgeon. Hopefully you only need like a cortisone shot or something like that and nothing serious. So thank you for being here, Richie, and thank you for signing the petition. So get some rest. Yes, I agree. He is a POS for sure. But yeah, get some rest and thank you for being here. And if everyone could also send some kind prayers and wishes to Butterfly Kisses as well.
Are lucky to have once in a lifetime. Do we know what he's doing now to honor her legacy?
Well, Tony, mostly he is putting his support behind these petitions that will be sent to the governor. The petitions are asking for tighter stalking laws. And at this moment, I was told that they have 50,000 signatures, but they're hoping for 1 million.
All right, Erin, thank you very much. You can see Erin's full report, The Life and Death of Amie Harwick, tomorrow night at 9 Central, right here on.
Okay, so I know there's like a lot that I want to go through, so I'm going to try, so we're not here all night like last time. So let me see. I definitely wanted to show her the best friend because that's just a really emotional testimony. And the last thing that I showed was just kind of to get people, like, I know Alsane wasn't here last time, and there was a few people that probably had no idea kind of what the case was about. So to let them know kind of what, and I don't think Mama Bear really was. So to know what the case was about, and so the people that were here, so you can get back into the testimony. So this is the best friend that I'm going to show now, and she was with Amie the night that it happened. So this is a hard testimony to watch. Please let me know if you can see it, and then let me know if you can hear it, please.
I'm zooming in on a photograph here, People's 12A, and I'm pointing to what appears to be a necklace, or two necklaces. Are those the necklaces that you're referring to Amie having worn that night?
Yes.
Now, did you take additional photos at the Globe Theater, aside from the one I'm showing you here?
We did? Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as People's 12B. Is this the photograph that was also taken there?
Yes.
And could you point out who's who in this photograph?
I'm to the right and Amy's to the left. Sorry.
You said you're to the right and Amy's to the left?
I'm sorry. I'm on the left and Amy's on the right.
You're to the left and Amy's to the left. If you need a moment, just let me know and we can pause.
Do you have tissues up there?
Yes, there is. Yeah,
it's
right behind the screen. Just reach behind the screen right there. Yeah, there you go. Right. Hands right there.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
That's okay. There's not much room up there. I'm going to show you one more photo, Shot. People's 12C. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
Is that another photo that was taken that evening?
Yes.
And could you tell us who's in the photo?
Myself to the left and Amy to the right.
Now, how long do you recall was the burlesque show?
It finished around 9:30, so like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Now, did you decide to go somewhere after the Globe Theater?
Yes.
So what time would you say you actually left?
Between 9:45 and 10 p.m.
And where did you go?
We first went to my office at 711 Olive Street. And then we went to the Nomad Hotel, which was across the street.
What's the Nomad?
It is a hotel / eatery. They have food, drinks.
Gotcha.
And it is a hotel.
Did all of you go there?
Yes, we did.
So that was Sarah, Amie, and yourself?
Yes.
Could you kind of tell us logistically how that took place?
Yeah, so Sarah and I had both Ubered there. So Amie drove us back.
What do you mean Amie drove you back?
We went in her car.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we drove to my office. And yeah.
So just to be clear, so that I'm not confused, Sarah drove both yourself and Sarah in her car back to your office located at 711 Olive Street.
Yes.
And that's located across the street from the Nomad?
Yes.
Where did Amie park?
In the down under garage of my building. I had parking there, so.
Is that where you had also parked earlier in the evening?
Yes, my car was there. Yeah.
And why did you decide to drive back with Amie and have her park there?
She had taken her car, and it's safer. You know, my building is safe and secure parking.
Gotcha.
So, and we knew we wanted to go to the Nomad, and I said, well, my business is right there, so let's just go park. It's a gated parking, so.
What time would you say after leaving the Globe Theater did you arrive at the Nomad?
Probably around 10:30. Wasn't, yeah.
What did you guys do once you were there?
We talked. We had something to eat.
I'm going to try not stopping it much, but I wanted to say thank you, Misfit, for the gifting, and also Laughing Stock. Thank you for being here. You said, hey babes and dudes. Thank you for the membership. I can't speak. That was me, not you saying that. And again, thank you, Misfit.
Amie had tea.
And when you say you laugh when you say Amie had tea, why did you laugh?
Because she loves tea. I don't know.
Okay. And you said you and Sarah had some drinks. Is that right?
Yeah, not alcoholic, just yeah, because we were ending the night, and so. Yeah.
About how long would you say you stayed at the Nomad with Amie and Sarah?
We left around midnight. Yeah.
And when you say
12,
we, did all three of you leave at the same time?
Yes, we did.
Where did you each go from there? Let's start with Sarah.
Sarah took an Uber to where her car was parked, and Amie and I walked back to my office.
Did you go straight home from there?
No.
What did you guys do once you and Amie walked back to your office?
We went up to my actual office. She wanted to see it, and I had just gotten a puppy, and she just wanted to see the puppy. And so we just went up there, and we were just talking for a moment. I had to gather my things. I didn't want her going to the garage by herself, and so we went back down together.
How much time would you say you spent in your office playing with your new puppy? And
Not much time, maybe 10 minutes, because we just both wanted to get home. It's late.
And you said that you had both walked down to the garage together?
Yes.
And we're talking about the parking garage?
Yes.
What happened once you got down to the parking garage?
We talked for a few minutes by our car, and then we both got in our cars and went to the freeway together, and I followed her on the freeway, and then, we went our separate ways.
And what time would you say that was when you finally, got into your cars and drove out of the parking garage?
Well, it doesn't take very long to get home. Must have been 12:30. It was a pretty, maybe 20 minutes or so. We went up and came down, and then we left.
And where did you go from your office?
I went to my house.
And how long you said it takes you? Did you say 20 minutes to get home?
Or so, yeah. I got home at 1 a.m.
Now, did you hear from Amie at any point after parting at the garage to arriving at your house?
Yes.
And how did you hear from her?
As soon as I was pulling into my garage at my home, she texted me and asked me to send her pictures.
Your Honor, at this time, the people are holding 2 pages of screenshots of text messages. May that be marked as people's 13A and 13B?
Yes.
And just preliminarily, I'm going to leave this exhibit up. I just want to let counsel know, just because the next series of questions will be involved with this exhibit, Your Honor.
Yes, we're, our discussion had to do with photographs. So not so much text and so forth and or these. As long as you're asking on the issue of the witness, that's fine. They're within the court's order.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right.
So you said that you received a text message from Amie at what time?
It was 1:02.
Now I'm going to show you, let's see, 13A. Do you have a good view of that in the screen in front of you?
I do, yes.
Now, do you recognize this to be your phone based on these text messages?
Yes, it was my phone.
Showing you the initial text message here, send me the selfies we took. Is that a text message from you or?
That's from Amie.
That's from Amie.
Yes.
And do you see the timestamp right above there?
I do.
Okay. And what's the timestamp?
1:01 a.m.
And that is a text message you received from Amie?
Yes.
Now there's a second text message in blue saying okay.
Yes.
And with a timestamp of 1:02 a.m.
Yes.
Is that your response to Amy's text message?
Yes.
And you said that's what time you came home?
Yes, because I distinctly remember as soon as I pulled into my garage, I got the message. And I was in my car, and I responded before I even went into my house.
So upon seeing that text message, you immediately responded.
Yes.
Now, and these are the photographs that we see on the screen that I showed you earlier. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to show you people's 13B. These are the other photographs that we talked about on the direct examination in people's 12. Is that correct?
Yes.
There is a timestamp on the right side here of 1:07 a.m. Are those text messages that you had sent between the times of 1:02 and 1:07?
I sent them all at once, and it looks like some of them just got delivered a little later.
Did you get a response from Amie after sending these messages?
No.
And when was the last time you ever heard from Amie?
When she texted me to send the photos.
So the text messages that we're viewing is the last communication you ever had with Amie prior to her death?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Jay said, I really think this case will be made into a movie. I just hope it highlights the need for changing the laws and making it easier for victims and not exploiting in any way. I think it definitely will be made into a movie as well. I know that they did do something. I could look online. I know they already made something about I don't know. It was something about being a celebrity and death by fame. But I think it was different celebrities. I could look and play it, but hopefully I won't get in trouble. Here, let me look and see what it was. But that was heartbreaking. You could see that her pain is still so raw, and she was reliving it while she was speaking. But yeah, you could see that she clearly, truly loved Amie, which it seems like all of her friends really, she touched everybody's hearts that she was friends with or family. So she seemed like she was just beautiful inside and out. Let me try to find that death by fame for you guys. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Hopefully I don't get suspended for showing this. Let me see. Okay, I think this is it. Because if it is, then there already is a movie of it. But oh yeah, okay, let's see if I get in trouble. It's just the trailer. So let me see. I don't know if it's going to be all of Amie or not. If not, I don't know. We'll see. But if it's not, we'll turn it off. I don't know. Let me know if you can see it. If not, this is actually Amie in it though. So I don't know.
Once upon a time, people come here with big dreams. Not so long ago, to be the big name, the next big star.
I'm pausing it, but it is Hollywood sex. Not the drugs part, but everything else, unless you want to count the syringe of nicotine, but that's not drugs. But it does have everything for a Hollywood movie.
I'm in a movie, and it's a little overwhelming, but it's exciting.
Los Angeles, Hollywood, the glitz glam capital of the world. People would kill for an opportunity like that.
Then I let it go.
A shocking murder mystery out of Hollywood that ended with an up-and-coming TV actor dead. An aspiring actress who vanished in Hollywood.
Horror in the Hollywood Hills.
So she's part of this. There's Amie. Yeah.
Murder at her home. There's a minimal distance between celebrity and insanity.
The downside, all eyes on you all the time.
Amie was being stalked.
She was terrified.
She fell 20 feet to the ground.
No one wakes up thinking that you're going to die by the hands of somebody that you love.
This was toxic. You had two fiancés at the same time.
So obviously that wasn't Amie.
An assault with a deadly weapon.
There's a pathology of wrongness here.
He may have been driven by demons that he didn't know about.
Hollywood is just a monster.
Most don't know the risk, and then some of them snap.
Started screaming at her and yelling. He said, "You ruined my life, bitch."
Johnny's name will forever be linked to one of the most violent acts ever committed in Hollywood.
Death by fame.
So it seems like that's 6 different stories in it. I don't know, but that will be interesting. I don't know if she's one of the episodes or what. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, you guys should all watch. But maybe if I do that Discord watch party, we could all watch it together. But I wanted to tell you guys what about his father before I show some other stuff. Okay, yeah, let me, because his father was in trouble for the same exact thing, which is crazy. And then I'll show more testimony. I have like 2 other things. So it says father of ex-boyfriend who murdered Hollywood sex therapist Amie Harwick was also accused of stalking by his ex-fiance who took out restraining order against him for harassing her. So that's crazy in itself. So it's basically the same exact thing that he didn't murder her, but the same thing that his dad did, the same thing as him. And it says Gareth Pursehouse is charged with murdering Amie Harwick after allegedly attacking her at her Hollywood Hills home. And then it just goes into how she got the protective order in 2011. Pursehouse British-born father Paul, who died last July, also had a restraining order taken out against him by his ex Vale, a 69-year-old San Diego-based real estate broker, claimed that Paul had been harassing her by phone, email, in person, and through friends. So that's like all the same things that was going on basically with Amie. I mean, at the end, it doesn't seem like all of this was going on, but still by phone and email. And then at the end, it was when they ran into each other. The friends all didn't like Gareth, though. They would all say, like, if you're coming, like, we'd love to see you, but don't bring Gareth around. And it says she claimed Paul had showed up to about 3 of my community events per week, and he was absolutely obsessed with her. So this is the dad's fiance. This isn't Amy's. So that's very interesting. So I don't know if this is like something in his genes, or like if he witnessed his dad doing these things, or like talked to his dad about it and then thought that behavior was okay. It's just obvious, like it's just weird that him and his father both did the same thing. Like stalking isn't an everyday type of thing that people do. Like toxic relationships, a lot of people have toxic relationships, but you don't hear about stalking being that regular of a thing. So the fact that him and his father both did that and they both had restraining orders against them is, I think that's weird. So it says the father of Gareth Pursehouse charged with murdering former Playboy model. So she was also a Playboy model. She did modeling for a lot of different things. She was a burlesque dancer, the fire eater, which I saw that Alsane put that in there. That's crazy that she was a fire eater. An LA sex therapist, Amie Harwick. And I do have an interview with her if you guys want to watch it. And she talks about everything that she did. This was like a couple months before she died. So it is sad to watch. She seems so happy in the interview, but had a restraining order against him. This is the father at the same time as the son. So wow, while Amie had a restraining order against Gareth, the father had a restraining order against his fiance at the same time. So Harwick got a protective order against Pursehouse in 2011 after ending their relationship, and the legal protection expired just weeks before the 6'4" computer programmer allegedly attacked her at the Hollywood Hills home last Saturday, resulting in her death. So a few things say that it had just expired. Some things say it didn't. I have to look more into that. Just 1 year. So look at how he used to look. This is crazy to how I know that it was it someone said he looks like a potato now. I think it was Carly Armstrong. I know Darlene says a lot of funny things about him too, but so it's just crazy how much 3 years in jail has changed him. But just 1 year before Harwick sought legal protection from Pursehouse, and yes, Pursehouse, Austin, I saw you made a joke about that too. In his comic skit, they made fun about his last name because he's like, oh yeah, I have a hard last name or something like that. And they're like, everyone knows both those objects. Like they're making fun of his last name. But his British-born father, Paul, was also the subject of a restraining order by his ex-fiancée, Deborah Vale, California court records reveal. And here it just says how he's charged with the murder of Amie. And here it just shows the father and his fiancée. And then it just goes into more about the father. He had been harassing. It talks about, again, how he was harassing her. he'd been showing up to 3 of the events, and so Gareth also, he would be showing up to job that Amie had, so that kind of is similar to the dad showing up at events. She had got countless hang-up calls that she believed was Paul. And I know that one of Amy's friends said she would also get weird phone calls or like things that she would just like emails, and she would think that it was him, but she wasn't sure because she didn't have enough proof. So it just seems like a lot of similarities. So I like, did he learn this stuff from his father? It's just weird. And I know I mentioned that. So I wonder, like, is it learned or is it genes? Is it both? And then friends told Daily Mail that Harwick described Pursehouse as her crazy ex, while LA court docs show she petitioned for a second restraining order in 2012, though her second order was dismissed after she did not follow up on her application. So that's something else that I read, that she didn't show up to one of her last ones. And so I've read different things. So, but she did for sure have one of them. The second one, I'm hearing conflicting things. So I have to see what is, like, every article is saying a different thing. So I have to see for sure. Maybe in the chat, you guys know and are saying, I don't see StreamYards right now since I'm reading this. Despite losing his father last year, a longtime friend of Pursehouse said he was in a high spirits when she saw him for the first time about 5 years ago at a Adult Entertainment's award party last month, run by industry magazine XBIZ and hosted by, they love to say this word, I don't think I should say it, so I'm going to say adult film legend and Donald Trump's alleged mistress. Oh, wow, they're saying a lot of stuff on here. I could get in trouble for saying that too. I should read this article before I share it. I don't know, how much more am I going to say? I've known Gareth for a long time. When he was more involved in the industry, and in the mid-2000s, he was a photographer who was just around the business, and that shows. He was super hyper, very friendly, and a very big man. So he was 6'4", so he was a big guy. And it says, when I saw him, I hadn't seen his face in years. I got up and talked to him. I caught his attention. He gave me a big hug. And here's friends mourn the tragic murder of sex therapist Amie Harwick. So here, I'll play this video and then we'll watch more of the court testimony. Let me just grab this.
Tired of phone?
I'm not sure if you can see it when I play it.
There's that just can't seem to keep your device in place? Look no further than this ultra-adhesive phone holder.
But people either
Let me
come
know
to
if
me
you can
because there's a
see it.
sexuality related
Piece
thing,
it of
or
one,
because
if you can
anxiety,
see it.
depression, change of life stuff, breakups, moves, things like that.
Hollywood therapist Amie Harwick's friends continue to drop off flowers at her Hollywood Hills home, where she was allegedly murdered Saturday morning.
She's a great person. Yeah, she was one of our really good friends.
Friends described the 38-year-old, who was once engaged to Drew Carey, as beautiful inside and out.
She was really vibrant and amazing and really kind and an advocate for women's rights and very loyal.
Harwick was a former playmate turned marriage and family therapist.
Hi,
Police
Ellie.
believe she died as the result of domestic violence, a topic she had counseled many clients on, at the hands of her ex-boyfriend, 41-year-old Gareth Pursehouse.
This was a person who harassed Amie for years. She dated him years and years ago, and somebody who harassed her for years. There were restraining orders, and unfortunately our system failed Amie.
Friends say Harwick had a restraining order against Pursehouse, who she dated about a decade ago. They say the computer programmer was obsessed with her. They tell us about 2 weeks ago, the restraining order expired, and the pair ran into each other at an event. They say Harwick just recently expressed fear about him.
Nothing was happening to protect her, and she had tried to file a second restraining order and it wasn't working, and the system's totally broken.
Police believe Pursehouse forced his way into Harwick's home around 1 a.m. Saturday morning. They say there were signs the couple had struggled before Harwick fell to her death from a third-floor balcony. Pursehouse was arrested a few hours later at his Playa del Rey home for her murder.
This man had been a problem for a long time, and she was an amazing person, and this shouldn't have happened to her.
Carey released a statement tonight saying he is overcome with grief, and he and Amie had a love that people are lucky to have once in a lifetime.
please. Sorry, the wrong thing was playing and I was trying to find it. Okay, Jay said, wow, Val, she was a lot smaller than him and slim. She must have been terrified. Yeah, so he was 6'4". He was a thinner guy than now. Well, I would say more like fit. So he was definitely in shape then, 6'4", in shape, and she was petite. Even some articles I'm reading say 5'5", some say 5'8". So even if, and usually people say they're taller, so I would say she's anywhere between 5'4" and 5'8". So, but yeah, she was definitely a lot, yeah, hold please. She was definitely a lot smaller than him. She definitely, I would say, was terrified for sure. Let me see what else that I wanted to show you. And I just put in the DV hotline in chat as well. But here, so that's crazy about his dad, though. Don't you guys think that his dad, him getting the same charge, that was pretty crazy? Let me see what else. Okay, so this is another friend that witnessed everything that night with them, and I wanted to play that. And then I'm not sure if there was anything else. I'm going to have to check and see if there was anything else that I wanted to share. I could, at the end, play Dr. Sleep because he does, again, make good points. And then I don't know if there's anyone here that wasn't here last time that didn't watch the replay. If you didn't watch the replay, I could play the brother and I could play the adult film star that saw everything that happened. Or I don't know if you saw the opening and the closing. I'll have to know like who saw what. Yeah, because I know everyone that was here the other night saw the opening, the closing. I mean, not the closing, but the opening from the defense and the prosecutor. And you guys saw the brother, and you saw who I said looked like Kim Mathers and Jenna Jameson put together. I know Austin, you saw nothing. But okay, I'm gonna put right now. Let me see. This is a friend that was on the stand that witnessed him saying, "You ruined my life, BITCH." So I'm going to put this on right now. If you can see it and you can hear it, please put a 1 or an 1111 or a thumbs up.
Get this drink order. And where did you leave Amie when you went to the bar?
Thank you.
She was in line with the friends that I had that we had met that we found there. So
Hey,
she was
Judge
with other
Maddie.
people.
And how long were you at the bar area before something happened?
Approximately 10 minutes into me waiting in line at the bar, I received 2 phone calls from a friend.
Thank you, Kay Braze.
I'm sorry?
What's the name of the friend?
Ashley Jemison.
Can you spell that?
ASHLEYJEMISON.
Does this person go by other names?
She has a stage name as well.
What's the stage name?
Her stage name is Aubrey Kate.
And what happened at this point?
The first phone call, when she called, I couldn't hear. It was a lot of loud commotion. It was chaotic. So I couldn't understand and I hung up. And then 30 seconds later, I received another phone call from her as well. And all I could hear amongst the chaos or the sounds that were sort of the loud sounds was, "Get the F over here."
What did you do?
I immediately went back to the line.
And when you went back to the line, how far away is the line from the bar?
I was probably 25 yards away from that portion of where they were at in the line.
Once you went back to the original location, what did you see?
It took me a couple of minutes to kind of weave through the different people that were standing there and blocking my route. When I got there, I saw Amie and the defendant were walking away from the line together.
And when you say the defendant, you see the person you saw there that night here in court today?
Yes.
Can you please point him out for the jury and describe what that person's wearing today?
He's wearing a blue suit and glasses.
What color shirt, sir?
A white shirt as well.
All right, identify the defendant.
And as you approached them, did you hear anything being said?
Initially seeing them walk away, I first checked in with my friend who called me, and she told me, this guy is freaking out on your friend. So I then walked over to where the two of them had walked to, and they had.
When you say the two of them,
Dr. Amie and Gareth Perthouse.
and then as you walked over there, what, if anything, did you hear?
As I was walking towards them, the only words I heard was, "You ruined my life, you bitch." And as I got closer, they both stopped. They both looked at me, and I checked in with her and said, "Is everything okay?" And she said, "Everything's okay. I'm going to be right here talking." And so I went back to the line and waited for her. I also said, "I'll wait in line for you." And so I waited and kept her place.
Now let's go back to the statement that you, what was the statement again?
"You ruined my life, you bitch."
Looking here at people's photograph C of this exhibit, do you recognize who's shown there?
Yes.
And who is that?
That's the defendant, Gareth Perthouse.
Is that the way he looked at the exhibit's award show on January 16th?
Yes, I remember the red shirt and the jeans. Yeah.
And so how would you describe?
Yeah, see, for the people that weren't here the other night, he just looks he looks like a different person now. And it's only been 3 years. It hasn't been that long.
We didn't see his face when he said, "You ruined my life, bitch."
They were profiled, so they were looking at each other as I was walking up. So they did not see me as that. I heard that.
Were you able to see what his demeanor was when he said, "You ruined my life, bitch"?
It was hostile and angry and elevated. And then when they both made eye contact that I was walking over, they both put it back together. He calmed himself down very quickly in that moment.
And then what happened?
After I checked in and she shared that she was going to be there and talking, I went back to the red carpet and waited for about 45 minutes until I got closer to the entrance of the red carpet. And in the meantime, I was checking over at the two of them talking periodically every minute or 2 minutes.
Why were you doing that?
I was concerned.
What were you concerned for?
The angry, hostile statement. If someone calls your friend a bitch, that was alarming to me. That raised a red flag for myself, and I wanted to make sure she was okay.
So you kept view of her?
Yes, she was in the line of sight the entire time I was in the line.
About how far away was she from you?
30 to 35 yards.
And did you see anything happen during that time when you're watching her from that distance?
Obviously, I could not hear anything else because I'm so far away, but I could observe nonverbal movements for both of them. I noticed she had her hands clasped together in her lap.
Her two hands.
Her two hands were clasped together, and she was seated in a way that was kind of leaning into the conversation. So she was, in my opinion, non-threatening and trying to just look calm. The defendant, Gareth Perthouse, had much more animated movements with the hands. So there was times where the hands went on the head, times when the hands covered the face, and then were in his lap, bending forward into his lap. And there was just more movement to reinforce whatever.
Sorry, I paused it, but I had mentioned before, another friend said she went into therapist mode and was speaking calm and speaking just very calmly to him. And I think that angered him more because a lot of times when you're fighting with an abuser or something, they want to get a rise out of you. And if you're just talking, if you're not giving them any reaction, that just angers them even more. So I think her just being calm with him got him even more angry.
Was being said.
Just reflect that the witness was placing his hands in front of his face, a couple inches up in front of his face, first above his head, then in front of his face, and then lean forward.
All right, thank you.
And what happened after that?
A bell went off to signify that the show was starting. So it's like a 5-minute or a 10-minute warning for people.
What time was the show supposed to start?
It's supposed to start, I think, at 8 o'clock, but they ran late, so it was probably closer to 9.
And what did you do once the bell rang?
Once the bell rang and I was very close to the red carpet, I just made the decision to walk over there and intervene and let her know, hey, the red carpet's about to close. This is your last chance. So I did walk up to them and I interjected and said, the red carpet is about to close. Do you want to come do your pictures? I've been waiting in line this whole time. And she said, yeah, just give me a second. And then I moved away to give them their space and went back to the line. And then she came over about 2 minutes later.
And before she came over 2 minutes later, approximately how long had she been talking to the defendant before that?
About 45 minutes.
And how would you describe her demeanor once she left the defendant and met up with you.
Totally changed.
What does that mean?
She went from initially coming into the show excited, talkative, enthusiastic, full of energy, as we all typically know her if you're in her life. And when she walked up to me, she was almost like a ghost. She was very stoic. I keep thinking back to the word that felt right, and it feels like she was on autopilot. She was just coasting and moving through the motions of walking and taking pictures and talking, but
Hi, Stacy. Good to see you.
That'll stand. Counsel, your next question.
Yes. Was she able to take pictures on the red carpet?
She did, yes.
Looking here at people's photograph D. You recognize what's shown here?
Yes.
What is that?
That is Dr. Amie on the red carpet.
And it appears that she's smiling in the photograph. Is that correct?
Yes.
When she wasn't taking photographs, did she appear happy?
No.
Why would you say that?
It felt fake. It would be like me smiling right now. I don't feel like smiling, but I could if I needed to. And that's what I picked up from her, a fake expression to get through the pictures and the evening.
And so after she took pictures at the red carpet, what happened after that?
She moved along the red carpet. I also took photos as well of her, and I was kind of with her the entire way. Then we moved to our seats as we had a table that we were going to be sitting at.
Look at that photograph E. You recognize what's shown there?
Yes, this is the ballroom at the Marriott where the awards were held.
And so would you have a table in this area?
Yes, we had 2 seats at the table right in front of the picture.
Looking at photograph F. You recognize what's shown here?
Yes.
Can you tell us what is shown here?
That is myself and Dr. Amie seated together at the table taking a photo.
Is this a selfie? Or someone took this photo?
It might be a selfie. Yeah, it looks like my arm.
And so how would you describe her demeanor at the time now she's at the table?
Loss of energy, unenthusiastic, not talkative, a very different person than who arrived there.
Did you see her take photos with friends?
She did take some photos with people. Yeah.
And about how long did this show last?
The show was approximately 2 hours.
And did anything happen before the conclusion of the show?
About 10 minutes before the show ended, and we know that it ends because there's a program. The defendant.
I think that whole time she was just probably thinking and running through the thoughts in her head of the what ifs and like, what if he's going to do this and seek me out? And just the fears were going through her head. And that's why she probably wasn't talking, and just that she couldn't believe what just transpired.
Gareth Pershouse approached our table and knelt down next to Amie and spoke in her ear.
Could you hear what he was saying to her?
I could not.
And did anything happen as a result of that?
After they.
Let me just rewind it a second. So he just said that Gareth went to their table. Okay, let me just rewind that a second in case anyone missed it.
She did take some photos with people. Yeah.
And about how long did this show last?
The show was approximately 2 hours.
And did anything happen before the conclusion of the show?
About 10 minutes before the show ended, and we know that it ends because there's a program. The defendant, Gareth Pershouse, approached our table and knelt down next to Amie and spoke in her ear.
Could you hear what he was saying to her?
I could not.
And did anything happen as a result of that?
After they exchanged a quick conversation, she turned to me and said, "We're going to keep talking after the show."
So what happened?
So then the show ended, and she told me where she was going to be, which was the same bench, the same area where they were speaking before the show. And because that area had everyone leaving the ballroom was going to be walking by that area, it was very public, and she felt safe there, and we agreed that's where she would speak.
Well, the court will allow, not on that grounds. The court will allow to stand.
So were you able to see where they went to go talk?
I remained in the ballroom for some time.
At some point, were you able to see where they went to go talk?
Yes, I did go check on her.
And what point was that?
Maybe 10 or 15 minutes into the ending of the show.
What did you see?
I saw them seated at the same bench, continuing their conversation.
How would you describe Amie Harwick's demeanor during that conversation?
Very similar. I call it therapist mode. She was engaged, and you could see a de-escalation experience of her trying to navigate and calm the situation.
Speculation.
Well, did you sustain, and unless you heard the conversation? Well done. Did you hear the conversation?
I did not hear any conversation.
Okay, so you're basing that on what?
Nonverbal observation.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Motion strike.
It's stricken.
How would you describe the defendant's demeanor when you observed him who appeared to be talking to Ms. Harwick?
You know, in that moment, I just checked to make sure they were seated there, and then went back to and left. So I didn't take a lot of time to see the nonverbal of their conversations outside of the two of them talking and leaning into each other.
And the location where they were talking, where is there traffic around, people traffic?
A lot of traffic and a lot of people walking by there.
Why would you say that?
It was to leave the ballroom, you'd have to take this corridor to the escalator that would take you downstairs to the lobby area. So everyone had to go through the escalator, or they could walk a lot farther and go down the elevator. So you had to walk by them.
And at some point, did you go talk to Amie Harwick while she was talking to the defendant?
We exchanged text messages, so I didn't approach the two of them. I only sent messages to check in and ask how you're doing. Are you okay? And she would respond, we're still talking, or I'm okay.
How much time did that go?
Probably about 30 minutes after the show ended. Most people had already left, so I moved out towards the area that they were at. And I grabbed a chair and I sat down and just was in the line of sight, just kind of waiting and watching.
Just to be clear, you said 30 minutes. Were you referring to how long the second conversation took?
From the end of the show till the time I moved out to sit down in that outside area where they were talking was about 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And so now you're seated watching Dr. Harwick and the defendant talk.
Yes.
And how long does that go?
Probably for another 20 minutes.
And so you're able to see her.
Yes.
And after 20 minutes, what happens?
Nobody was left. The cleaning crew was picking up the tables, and registration had been broken down, the registration tables and area. I just felt like it was time to go. This had been a long time, and so I decided to walk up to them and let her know that I think it's time to wrap up and we should get going.
About what time was this? Approximately.
About midnight.
And so did you do that?
Yes.
What did you say?
Just like that, I think it's time for you two to wrap up. We should be getting going, and gave them another couple of minutes to wind down and wrap up their conversation. And then the two of them stood up, and then her and I proceeded to walk towards to the escalator and then go downstairs to her car.
This would be the parking lot?
There's a parking structure that underneath the hotel, yes.
And did you make it to that car?
Yes, we did. We arrived at her car.
And on the way there, did anything happen?
She didn't want to talk. And
What does that mean? She didn't want to talk?
I'm just asking, how did things go? What was that all about? And she didn't really want to speak. She was in a hurried rush to get to the car.
So did you rush to the car?
We did.
And
We didn't stop anywhere, talk to anyone. We just went directly to the car.
when you got to the car, did anything happen?
Once we sat down in the car, she had this big sigh, and she then told me who it was, because originally she had just said it's an ex. And then she shared with me which ex it was. And in that moment, we talked about, she mentioned, I'm not going to this burlesque show any longer. I told her I won't go see any other friends. And we,
Right.
It was overruled. Sorry.
It was,
so we decided to go to a diner to talk.
And before leaving the parking lot to go to the diner, did anything happen? Did she express anything at that point?
She was scared and worried she was going to be followed.
How do you know that?
She told me.
I think like she couldn't wait to get out of there. Probably that whole time she just wanted it to be over and wanted it to be over, but she was probably my stupid phone. Hold on. Sorry about that. But she just couldn't wait for it to be over, but she probably didn't want to be rude and leave early or tell her friends like I want to get out of here. But she probably felt like he was watching her the whole time and was worried he was going to follow her. So that's why she was rushing to get to the car and just couldn't wait to get out of there. But let me press play and finish watching this. One moment.
And both her and I both looked in the side mirrors and turned our heads to make sure no one was following us outside of the parking structure.
Did she indicate to you who she feared would follow?
Yes.
What'd she say?
Gareth.
And where did you go after that?
We got on the freeway and we went to a diner in Burbank called Bob's Big Boy.
So, around what time is this when you get to the Bob's Big Boy?
Approximately 12:30 a.m.
While at the diner, does she tell you anything related to her fear that night?
She told me the story of the interaction, of what they talked about, and her fear and her being afraid.
Can you tell us what she told you in regards to her fear?
She told me that she was scared, that she had long felt fear regarding this ex. Yeah.
And did she tell you that whether anything from that particular night caused her fear?
Because she had shared that they had not spoken for a number of years, this brought up a wave of fear. And a big part.
Did she indicate to you whether she was going to take any precautions as a result of having this fear?
A big part of our conversation was how to protect yourself from.
Can you tell the jury what you and her discussed about her protecting herself?
We discussed boundaries and a safety plan. And within that safety plan, we discussed having someone reinforce her locks, both on her doors and windows. We discussed her getting mace or pepper spray. We discussed her getting a taser and also the possibility of her purchasing a gun for protection.
So she expressed to you that she felt.
Sorry to pause it again. Oh, but that makes me so upset. And I'm not at all blaming her, but they had just talked about like getting a taser, getting a gun, all these different things. And it doesn't seem like it happened, but I know she was killed so recently after. So maybe she just, I know it takes time to do the take gun lessons and to get a gun. So maybe she was still in the process of doing all that. But it's sad that they had the conversation about doing all that. But I mean, it happened so fast. It was kind of like a blitz attack. So even if she had a taser in her room put aside or a gun put aside in her room, I don't even know if she would have been able to get to it in time. But it seems like they were talking about all of these different options.
Those things were necessary to protect yourself?
Yes.
And protect yourself from who?
From Gareth Berthouse.
How long were you at the diner with her talking about this?
About 2 hours. We left around 2:30 a.m.
How did you feel about her telling you this, that she wants to get a pepper spray, gun, and all that?
That's relevant.
Interesting.
How was her demeanor when she's telling you?
Her demeanor?
Yes. When she's telling you, she's thinking about getting pepper spray, taser, a gun.
Very different than the Amie I knew. The Amie I knew had a lot of confidence and empowerment and strength, and she was frail and fragile and scared and worried.
Okay, I'm trying to decide for people that weren't here the other night, because I've shown the testimony for everyone that was here the other night. I'm trying to think if I should show let me see. Well, actually, maybe I didn't show this. Hold on. I don't think I showed this. Yes, I didn't show this.
Who's the person that appears to be
One
leaning?
moment. The crime.
over,
Okay, this is the crime scene body cam. This isn't the body cam before. This is them showing the house. Can you see my screen or no? Wait, I don't know if you can see. I think you can. Put a 1 if you can see it and hear it.
There on the concrete.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, there appears to be another
Please,
man
pretty
leaning
please.
over
The
what
cherry
appears to be
on
the body of someone on the patio. Who's that other person that's leaning in asking questions?
That's my partner, Luke Edney.
I'm sorry?
Luke Edney, Officer Edney.
Oh, I don't
That's
think
what we
it's
see in the video
working.
there?
He looks frozen.
Go ahead.
Oh no, he's frozen in the video too. Never mind.
This is your room? Yes.
He just
Stay
doesn't
here. Listen to me.
move.
You need to relax. Okay, you're escalating the situation. You're making it worse for everybody. You need to calm down.
Let me see what's going on. Hold on. Let me restart this because he's frozen in the video too. Let me try restarting it. Hold on. This is so weird. He's not moving in it. Okay. I guess for like the first 5 minutes, he doesn't move. It's so weird. Let me fast forward it. Okay. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It's so weird. he really can. He should be. Is it a mime that stays still? I was saying you're gonna laugh at me. Is it no? Those people that I think they're in Harold and Kumar. I might be totally off on the movie, but they totally stay still. I can't think of what it is, but he is literally staying still. I'm at 2 minutes and 48, and he hasn't moved. But here, watch.
Who lived there? Mrs. Harwick's roommate.
Here,
Stating that there
I'll
might be someone
rewind
upstairs.
it, but he hasn't moved at all. Hopefully, you
No.
guys can see.
Officer Edney.
That's
I'll just
who's the
start from
person
the
that appears to
beginning.
be
Oh, he
leaning
moved. He moved.
over.
He's
There
alive.
appears to be a body there on the concrete.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, there appears to be another man leaning over what appears to be the body of someone on the patio. Who's that other person that's leaning?
Yeah, he
and
moved at you.
Asking questions. That's my partner, Luke Edney.
I'm sorry?
Luke Edney, Officer Edney.
That's what we see on the video there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Let's count. See how long till he
Stay
moves.
here. Listen to me. You need
Is
to
he
relax.
blink?
Okay, you're escalating the situation. You're making it worse for everybody. You need to calm down. Hey, we need to.
Yes, K-Braze, ventriloquist. Thank you, K-Braze.
7 minutes and 10 seconds. Is that your voice saying she's having a seizure?
Yes, sir.
Oh
So
my
tell the jury, 'cause
God.
we can't see it on the body one. What did you observe at that point?
I'm so happy they didn't show that on the body cam. And that reminds me, I also have pictures of where she documented her abuse. I've kind of gone back and forth of whether I should show it or not. I mean, we are covering the trial and it's being shown in the trial. So I don't know if you guys want me to show the pictures of her documenting the abuse. It's pictures when he's hit her in the face that when they were dating. So if you think that if you wanted me to show that, I can. Again, they are showing it in the trial. So let me know. I'm going to play this though right now.
So I observed her head was tilted to the left, and her head was kind of tucked under her left shoulder, and she had very shallow breaths. There was also blood coming from her mouth, and her eyes were somewhat rolled back into her head.
And you mentioned the word seizure. What did you see in that regard?
Those symptoms are sometimes consistent with someone having a seizure. With oftentimes when someone has a seizure, they bite their tongue and blood comes out of their mouth.
Okay. Oh, have you ever seen someone have a seizure?
Yes.
How many times?
Well over 30 times.
Okay, I'll allow the fact that it appeared that she was having a seizure. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll allow that.
Did she respond to you or your partner when you were asking her?
Hi, Ash
No, sir.
Cash.
So it's inside here? Yeah, get these keys. Where are the keys at?
Pause it. No, pausing it at 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Why do you have your guns drawn at this point?
Based on the information provided by the gentleman who lived there, Mrs. Harwick's roommate, stating that there might be someone upstairs, and just the totality of the circumstances. Tactically, we wanted to render the house safe prior to doing anything else.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna hold it here. Take a seat. You told me to stand over here. All right, I'm gonna hold. Go get that open, okay? Okay. Yeah. We have an ambulance in our route, okay? Do me a favor, take a seat.
Now I paused it at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. At what point did you request paramedics or an ambulance?
My partner at the time requested an ambulance within seconds of contacting Mrs. Harwick.
Thank you.
I can't believe an ambulance wasn't already on the way. Like when he made the police call, you would think they would have already had an ambulance coming there too. But I
Anyone else else inside is LAPD, come out with your hands up. Hey, somebody pat him down, please. Somebody needs to stay with her, and then we need to clear this house. I hear voices, but I can't tell if it's TV or not. Yeah, I already did. Yeah, somebody needs to stay with them. Yeah. Hey, anyone else inside? Is LAPD? Come out with your hands up. All right, guys. Hey, so look up.
I paused it at 9 minutes and 27 seconds. Just looking back at line 17 of the transcript, you stated, I hear voices, but I can't tell if it's a TV or not. What did you mean by that?
Based on my point of view, I heard echoing of voices coming from inside the house. They were very low and mumbled. So I was just trying to use my senses to identify any other threats inside the house.
Did you eventually make it into Mr. Herman's room?
I did.
And was the TV on in that room?
It was.
Okay, so I'm gonna be contact. Yeah. You're gonna be arresting team. Okay, partner. You're gonna be less than lethal when it comes to it. Okay. No, not yet. Hey, you're gonna need communications also. Okay. Ready? This room, these two rooms are clear already. I hear voices, but I can't tell. I got an open room. There's a balcony to the top. I got couches. There's like a kitchen to the right. Okay, so I'm gonna turn right. Partner, you come with me. Hey, podcast, you cover this side, okay? You cover straight ahead. Got it? I'm going. Hey, be advised, there's a lot of dummies.
The cops do not sound kind at all in this body cam footage, but you guys can see what you think.
All right, let's do this. Hey, Cornel, come with us, dude. You guys hold that, okay? Or podcast, you hold that. So you come with us, okay? All right. We got the doorway to the right, that goes to the kitchen, and to the left. So we're gonna go right. Sweeney, you hold left, okay? All right. Kitchen. It loops around. It's gonna go down to the staircase. It goes out back outside, back down to them.
All right. I paused it at 10 minutes and 55 seconds. Do you see a door there at that point?
Yes, sir.
And is that a door from the kitchen leading towards the outside?
Yes, sir.
And is that door open?
Yes.
Did you open that door?
No, sir.
Did any police officers open that door?
No, sir.
So when you first see that door is open.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like it's wide open.
Correct.
Yeah. Hey, blue. Sarge, you see me? All right. Oh, we got clear this corner. All right. Yeah, let's go. All right, this goes around to the front. All right, let's go up there and go back.
I'm sorry to pause it, but Edward, that's actually who I was thinking of at first. I was thinking also of what K-Bray said, but I was thinking about the people in the red uniforms because there's a show, I don't know what it is, which show, but they are like trying to make those people laugh. And I can't think of what it is, but yes, the people, the guys in the red uniforms at Buckingham Palace, how they don't move. That's what I was thinking of. Yes, if he didn't do this, he could have had that job, or he could have been a ventriloquist. Okay, sorry, totally off. Blame Edward, not me. Just kidding. It's my fault.
All right. Really? He said he heard her screaming, right?
Hey, Jocko, good to see you again.
I got you, Charlie. Right here. Yeah, it's not the rest of the master. Okay. All right, so you guys can move up in unison. Yeah. On you guys. Just hold it. They're gonna move up in unison. You're good, Box. Whenever you guys are ready, go ahead. Go back. Yeah, that's what it's in. You hold that. We'll get this. I got you. And then looking clear. That's super nice. It's clear here. You see it? Oh, jeez. Oh, we haven't cleared the whole house yet. Yeah, he's holding another.
Positive at 13 minutes and 40 seconds. You went into the balcony at that point. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything on the balcony?
I did.
Can you tell the jury what you saw?
I saw a syringe with a dark brown liquid.
I have 3 photographs here. Just mark people's next in order.
29.
29A, B, and C. Looking here at people's 29A. I recognize what's shown there.
Yes.
What is that?
That is the same syringe that I observed.
And is it on this photograph? Is it in the same location where you first observed it?
Yes.
And again, I just have never heard about, so anyone that's new coming in, hello. And I just can't believe, like, he brought the syringe of nicotine. So do you guys think that he brought it, that he was planning on killing her and then using the nicotine on himself? Or do you think that he was going to use that on her? Like, what do you think his plan was for the nicotine, the syringe of nicotine? Because for anyone, the defense is saying he was planning on using it for himself. So, and he didn't use it on her. He obviously, allegedly, he did end up killing her by strangulation and then throwing her over the balcony. But what do you think his intent was with the syringe of nicotine? Do you think that it was for him, for her, for like some plan B? Like if she wasn't going to talk to him, he was going to use it. I mean, what do you guys think about the syringe?
Looking at photograph 29. B, is that a close-up of that same syringe?
It is.
Hi, Lefty.
Looking at photograph C, is that even more of a close-up?
Yes, sir.
And the way it looks here on C, the color of the liquid was out.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that at all,
Yes, sir.
Jay. That's a really good thought. I didn't think that.
And then you're gonna make a right on Longview, I think. Yeah, right. Should be coming up. This is it. And then now I'm just gonna be on the first right. Yep. 250 north. 2086. 2086. I think it's gonna get pyramid. Yes, sir. Right up here.
I'm going to pause it right here at 1 minute and 6 seconds of the video. Now, do you see the date at the very top corner? It's 2/15/2020.
Yes, sir.
Is that the correct date when this video is being recorded?
Yes, sir.
And now it says, as far as the time, it says 09, 25, and 27. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know why it gives that time?
We implemented a new body-worn video system since the time of this video. And during this time of the body-worn video, we were on Greenwich Village Mean Time, which is an atomic time zone.
So it's from that particular time zone, you have to calculate what that time would be in Los Angeles.
Correct, which is 7 hours ahead.
So then would this be 1:25 in the morning?
Correct.
So instead of that 9, you have that 1. It would be 1:25 in the morning.
Correct.
I'm going to continue playing the recording.
No, I heard it. She's screaming. She's thrown to the ground. I couldn't find my phone. I couldn't find anything. Okay, hold on. Okay, so you have access to here? Is there anybody else inside the house? My roommate. Just your roommate by yourself? Yes. Dude, I heard screaming. I don't know if that guy had a gun or a knife. I came running trying to. I couldn't find my phone. So is there somebody else inside? Yes. So I think there's. Okay, sir, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Calm down. Calm down. Other than your roommate, is there anybody else inside the house? I don't know. I don't know. No, it's just just heard her screaming. I found all stuff thrown to the ground. I've been calling for her. If there's windows, nobody's answering, nothing.
Let's get an additional unit. Yeah, I know, but.
Maybe we can if you want.
Yeah,
But we're gonna go there.
Yeah, I know. 615, can I get an additional unit for Columbus?
Yes. I mean, I can hop the fence, but I mean, my keys are left in the house. I was in the middle of sleep.
So why is this? Why can't we get in here?
Because it's locked. Because she came home.
Listen, sir. You need to relax a little bit so that we can get all the information, okay?
Okay.
So how are we gonna get? How are you planning on getting back in here?
I don't know. I guess hopping the fence and getting my keys.
Let me stop right there.
I hopped the fence and I cut myself on that.
Just before we move on, looking at page 5, line 4, does this gentleman tell you that he heard screaming? It sounded like she got thrown to the ground.
Yes.
And continue to play the recording.
So you hopped the fence to get out as well? Yes. I couldn't. I'm in the middle of sleep. I don't know how many people are in there. I don't know if he's got a weapon or what. I'm trying to knock on neighbors' doors. Nobody's answering. I don't have a phone. He was walking by. We don't have a lot of time. I mean,
Well, sir, so how are we supposed to gain entry to this place?
I guess hop the fence with me. We'll go around back. The back door's open. Let's go.
So where's your key at?
Inside, downstairs. The back door's open.
So you came out this way?
Yes.
Hey, partner, we're gonna have to jump it. We're trying to find a better place that we can jump it. How long ago did you last hear from her? We're gonna have to go right here. You hold this. Dude, this is. Yeah, so we have a lot more gear than what you're wearing. Well, that'd be great if we can get. Nice. Yeah. You guys got that? Just get see where the footing is going. Sir, can you wait a second? I'm waiting for a partner. You need to calm down. Yeah, here, hand me yours too. It's like impossible. Watch out, there's a tree above you. With your head. Use it as a branch if you need to. Don't use this as a solid. You're good. You're good.
At this point, you say on line 26 of page 7, 6815 advised the responding units that we had to hop the fence. We're going to be in the rear of the location. Who are you providing that information to?
To the additional unit that we requested, as well as any supervisors that were responding to the location.
As well as what?
As well as any supervisors that were responding to the location.
And when you met, how would you describe his appearance?
He was disheveled. He also had his shirt. He was wearing a white shirt with blood stains on the lower abdomen of the t-shirt, as well as like his chest as well.
Okay, did that cause you any concern?
I was concerned, yes.
How so?
Because we had very limited information based on the radio comments or the comments of the radio call. So we get there and he's saying that he lives inside, but no way to access it, and he has blood all over his shirt, and but no way to access the house. He's saying he lives there, no identification. So we were being cautious.
It seems like they were acting like he was a suspect. Do you guys take that? Do you think that they were acting like he was a suspect as well? They said because they had limited information. But I think we kind of got through this one. I don't know why it's playing again, unless I'm imagining it. But I don't know. But I don't know if there's any. Do you guys want to see that there's like a couple minutes left of this one, or should I go to the other stuff? His lawyer looks asleep. Oh, Misfit. Yes, thank you for the gifting so much. and welcome new members. I will be going live a lot more often. I've gone like a couple days now in a row, and I'll be going live again tomorrow because this case is going to be every day now. So you guys are going to get very sick of me. I'll just finish this.
Thank you.
Sir, come here. Relax. Take a seat. Take a seat. Oh my God. What was going on tonight?
Okay, yes. So this is what I played. I don't know why it played again, or it skipped to another part. This is where I think that he witnessed her body where she had been thrown off the balcony, which is absolutely horrible. And I can't, because you could hear the fear and the panic in his voice. So that's just awful. I won't play the rest. But here, I'll show you the pictures. I told you she was documenting, and Clumsy said that I know when Gabby Petito, I didn't cover her case, but she showed when her pictures were circulating. I didn't show her pictures, but I didn't cover that case or anything. Hold on. My stuff's playing. But I didn't show the pictures of Gabby Petito, but I wasn't covering it or anything. And I felt connected to Gabby as well. But since this is being shown in the trial, I'll show it here. So let me grab, there's such heartbreaking pictures. But here, let me show you. So this is a lot of people that are going through abuse. They do document the pictures and they don't actually show them to anybody. But just in case something happens to them, they still have it on their phone. But a lot of times, they don't do anything with the pictures, but it's still being documented. And that seems like this was the case for Amie as well. So here, these are 2 pictures. And again, I'll put trigger warning in here because it is very graphic pictures and it's heartbreaking pictures. So here, let me share that. So this is one of the pictures that she took after Gareth had beat her up. And then here's another picture that she took. So you can see that he gave her a bloody nose. And she talks about him giving her a bloody nose in one of the restraining orders. So maybe this is the time that she did used it to get a restraining order. Here, I'll take it off of the screen just so I don't have it up too long. Let me see. But yeah, so that is very heartbreaking. Misfit said abuse is a very serious thing. Even manipulation can be harmful. Yes, manipulation, that is the control and the manipulation. It all is part of the abuse, just wanting to control that person. And Jiraiya said, if anyone is experiencing abuse, please reach out. There is to help. I put the number up earlier. I'll put it back in a minute. And if anyone can sign that, this here, that would be great. It's a petition to get for domestic laws to be changed in honor of Amie, so that there's no expiration date. So because usually you have to renew it like a stupid like an esthetician's license or a cosmetic, but then you have to face your abuser. So if it literally, I know it sounds so silly that I'm like comparing it to that, but that's basically you're having to renew it. And why do you have to do that? It should be forever until you feel that person's no longer a threat. And then if you feel that person is no longer a threat, then if you want to take it and have it no longer be valid or whatever, then I think it should be that way, instead of you having to go see your abuser and having to keep redoing it. So, but yeah, if you guys can sign that would be great. I know a lot of people in chat already did. So let me see. I know there are people here that weren't here the other night, so I'm trying to think. Oh, here's one friend that says about how this is a lot of the friends, they all knew how dangerous he was. So here's another friend that says how dangerous he was. This isn't on the stand. This is just, I don't think she must have not been in court, because if she was able to do a TV interview, then she probably wasn't in court. So let me know if you can see it and if you can hear it, pretty please.
A good friend of Amy's was in contact with her.
I'll
Just
try to
last
put it
week.
louder too.
Mashumi, thanks for being here.
It's
What
not.
did she
Let
tell
me
you
see if I
about
can make
Gary?
it louder. It's
Well,
louder.
she was scared of him for a really long time. He basically used to try to sabotage her work. He was, from what I understand, really into tech, maybe a software engineer or something like that, where he knew a lot of stuff about computers and whatnot. So he had the ability to hack into people's computers, and he would then try to sabotage her career, her friendship. I know that he hacked into her email and sent one of her previous employers like sensitive information, sensitive pictures, things of that nature. So he had been doing this sort of thing for a long time, and she knew that.
Unfortunately, I have it the loudest it goes. I'm sorry.
Something about this guy.
Oh yeah, she reported him. She got restraining orders. I mean, she was constantly telling the authorities about this.
And they did
they
nothing.
choose to they did nothing. They gave her a restraining order which expires. And there were times where they threw restraining orders out because I think one time, she like didn't follow up in the right amount of time, so they just threw it out. I mean, they didn't take it very seriously, and they were honestly like trying to leave it up to her to do something, as opposed to like recognizing there's a dangerous person out there.
Did she ever tell you specifically, I fear for my life, I think he's going to kill me?
She never told me those words, no, but it was obvious to me, woman to woman, like she was really scared for her life.
Well, she also had this relationship with Drew Carey. You attended their engagement party. What was that relationship like?
She was with Drew for, a few years. They were a happy, loving couple. They had a lot of fun together. I don't want to make this about her and Drew.
So she says kind of what I've said, how I don't really want to make it about like her and Drew, because I don't know why there's so much spotlight on her and Drew Carey, because it really has nothing to do with him. I understand that he's a celebrity, but I don't see why there's so much. It's not like they were married, and I mean, I know that they were engaged briefly, but still there shouldn't be so much attention on Drew Carey, in my opinion. And I wanted to read, and I still don't know if it's Jocko or not. I hope it is. That's why I say Jocko and Yako, but I need to know. But so I'm just going to say both. So Jocko says, or I'm not sure, but emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. Physical abuse recovers, but mental abuse stays forever, and it makes you less trustworthy of others. So sadly, a lot of times when people are a lot of times it's not just one type of abuse people are going through. A lot of times the person is physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, like that they're abusive in all different types of ways. And when you're getting it in all these different types of ways, it gives the person long-term PTSD, and where they can't trust others, especially, and a lot of times there's also sexual abuse in that too. And a lot of people think, well, how can there be when it's a boyfriend or something like that? But a lot of times it's all about control. So it's just a lot of times, though, like I said, abuse comes where, especially when it's just like terrible abuse that's been going on for years and years and years. It might start with emotional abuse or psychological abuse, where they're trying to make you feel crazy and stuff like that, or question your own reality. But then it does turn into end up being physical abuse too, and then it's just all of those different types of abuse you're experiencing. But I understand what you're saying about how mental abuse stays forever. And I think all of them are just very hard in their own way.
Because, relationships end for various reasons. But as far as I know, they were extremely happy. and they had a lot of fun together.
So her life is not in vain. What would you like to see happen here?
You know, Amie was such an advocate for mental health, an advocate for underrepresented communities. She always would sort of lower her fee as a therapist to be able to work with a variety of different types of populations. She cared about her clients so deeply, and she was just always loving. She was always smiling. I don't think I ever saw Amie not smile, and she just always brought a great presence and a light to the world. So I just would love everyone to remember it that way.
Oh, she sounds like a beautiful person. Mashumi, I'm so sorry for the loss of your friend.
Okay, so that was just another one that I wanted to show. And so since there's more people that weren't here the other night, I wanted to know what exactly that I should show, because from what people that weren't here the other night, they did miss the opening statements from the prosecutor and the defense. You also missed, who I say Kim Mathers, Jenna Jameson's sister, and her last name is Jameson, obviously not her real last name. Or I don't know. I don't know. So there's that one. There's a 42-minute one, which I didn't play of that. I played the 20-minute one, but there's also a 13-minute one. So I could maybe play the 13-minute one. She was with Amie when he walked up to her and was like, "Funny seeing you here." And then Amie walked away with him and started talking to him. So that was again the last night before, when he went. Not the last night. That was when they saw each other, and then a couple weeks later he had killed her. But the first night they saw each other and it had almost been 10 years. So there's that with that girl the adult film star. There's her brother. There's the opening and closing statements. Not closing. I keep saying opening and closing. There's the opening statements from the defense and prosecutor. There's the ring video, which is interesting, and that shows where he goes and he covers the ring camera and tries to like reset it. And then I'm seeing what else. And then it just goes more into the case. So I'm trying to think what I should show to the people that weren't here the other night. What do you guys want to see that weren't here the other night? Do you want to see the opening and closing? I'm not closing. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Do you guys want to see the defense and the prosecution? Do you want to see the woman that was with her when her ex Gareth walked up to her? Do you want to see the brother? That could maybe be the last one. Do you want to see where her roommate talks about the scream that he heard? Let me know. The only one, all of those are pretty short. The only one that's not short is the defense opening. I didn't say opening and closing that time. I caught myself. You're here all morning, Misfit. Remember I said I was going to try to make this one short. See, Roxanne says, you want to see the... Austin wants to see the closing. Okay, let's see. Okay, the woman with her. Okay, when he walked up to her. So there's I'll do the shorter version. There's the 42-minute, the 20-minute, and the 13-minute. I haven't seen the 13-minute one yet, but I guess I'll do that one. Maybe if it's not long enough, then I'll do the 20. I don't know what she talks about in the 42-minute one. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see if it just starts in like the middle. Yeah, it seems like it starts in the middle. So let me get to this. Hold on one moment. Hold, please. Okay. I don't know why this one's so much longer. All right. So this is Kim Mathers Jameson. Not really, but kind of. She reminds me of Eminem's ex-wife, a younger ex-wife. and also Jenna Jameson. Please let me know if you can see and hear the video.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please have a seat.
Ms. Jameson, I'm just going to ask you to lean into the microphone in your responses, if you would, okay? Go ahead.
Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Aspen Jameson, Aspen Jamieson.
Mr. Avila? Oh, Ms. Mariano, excuse me.
It can be confusing, Your Honor. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Jameson, before we start, do you mind moving the mic just a little bit closer and pointing it down towards your face so we can hear you? Ms. Jameson, what do you do for a living?
I am an adult film star.
Just a little louder.
An adult film star.
Thank you. As part of your work, did you attend the XBiz award show on January 16th of 2020?
I did.
Is that something that you would normally intend as being a person in your industry?
Yes.
Who did you attend the award show with in 2020?
At the time, or that night, I went with my friend, and we basically got a room to get our hair and makeup done, and it's just me and her.
Do you know about what time you ended up going to the actual award show after getting your hair and makeup done with your friend?
Around like 6:30 p.m.
And where was the XBiz Awards?
It was at the JW Marriott in downtown LA.
Now, when you got to the award show, did you walk the red carpet?
I did.
And did you do that pretty quickly after you arrived at the XBiz Awards?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10A. Do you see that on the screen in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that familiar to you?
Yes.
Is that the red carpet as it appeared back on January of 2020 when you walked that particular carpet for the show?
Yes.
Now, when you were at the show, did you run into somebody by the name of Dr. Fernando Chavez?
Yes.
How do you know Mr. Chavez?
We are friends. I've met him a few years ago. Prior to that, always kind of in the adult field, I guess, at different places.
And what do you know his position to be in kind of the adult film industry?
Like a doctor for like sexual education and therapy.
Did you see him at the award show?
I did.
Where at the actual award show did you see Dr. Chavez?
He was standing in line waiting for the red carpet.
Was he alone?
No.
So can you tell us about what time you ran into Dr. Chavez on the red carpet?
It was probably around 7:30, 8 p.m.
And this was after you had kind of done your thing.
Right. So I finished red carpet. I had an early call time because they normally have the bigger stars go first to get it over with to make sure that they have all the press that they need.
You're one of the bigger stars?
Yes.
You said earlier in a question that I posted that he wasn't alone when you ran into him. Do you know who he was with?
He was with Amie.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as People's 10. Do you recognize who's depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
And who is that?
Amie.
And is this the person that you saw Dr. Chavez with on the evening of the award show when you ran into him on the red carpet?
Yes.
Is that the first time you met Amie?
Yes.
So you have no prior interaction with Amie prior to this time?
Never.
Now, when you ran into Dr. Chavez, did he introduce you to his friend Amie?
Yes.
Did you come to find out what it was that she was doing there that evening?
I knew he basically said she was a therapist as well, just like him, and they were going there to basically network.
Now, when you saw Dr. Fernando Chavez with Amie at the red carpet, did you actually stop and talk and hang out?
As soon as I finished, I was walking, I saw him, and he basically said that I looked very nervous because I don't really like to talk in front of people. I don't like to do media stuff. So he asked if I wanted a drink.
Did he go and get that drink?
He did. He asked if I could stay with her and keep her company while he went to go get us drinks.
And about how far away would you say the area to get drinks was from the area in which you first ran into Dr. Chavez and Amie?
Maybe like 30, 40 feet.
No.
About how far away was the bar from the area in which you had stopped to speak to Dr. Chavez and to Amie?
About 30, 40 feet.
Now, you said that, if I'm recalling correctly, since we walked away, that Dr. Chavez wants to actually go and get you a drink.
Yes.
Now, when you were standing there with Amie, did you guys engage in conversation?
Just very, very small talk.
Did anything significant happen as you were engaging in small talk with Amie on the red carpet?
While we were talking, a guy came up and basically said, "It's funny seeing you here."
Now, what was the tone of the person when they said, "It's funny seeing you here"?
Very angry.
Angry. Now, did you recognize that person?
No, I've never seen him before.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as people's 10C. You recognize this person.
Yes.
And how do you recognize this person?
He was
Person are we talking about?
The person
in the red.
10C?
Oh, there's two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The guy
person
in
in
the
the
red.
red, I'm sorry.
The guy in the red is the guy that came up to us.
And said, "Funny seeing you here."
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
With a yes,
Yes.
or no?
Yes.
Do you see that person?
Sorry, I had to pause. Your comments are just too funny, but yes, I agree. Witness Jocko or Yako, I'm just gonna say both, or JACO, was a stranger to Amie, and she could see the signs of what the defendant was to Amie, and that's scary. So yes, someone who never even met Amie or Gareth before could see like what a dangerous and threatening situation it was, and never met them, and it had only been like a couple minutes and she already saw that this was a bad situation. And you guys are funny in chat, by the way.
Before?
Yes.
Could you please identify that person by telling us where that person is seated and what that person is wearing?
A blue collared shirt and glasses.
All right. I'm fine with that.
Now, you said that this person came up and said, "Funny seeing you here." Did he bother to introduce himself to you?
No.
Would it be fair to say that he interrupted your conversation with Amie at that point?
Yeah.
As to your first objection, the court will sustain it. Your second objection, go ahead.
When he came up to you, was it in the midst of you and Amie speaking?
Yes.
Was your conversation interrupted?
Yes.
Did he introduce himself at any point?
No.
Oh,
Did you find that rude?
sustain.
What was his tone?
Very angry.
Now, how long had you been standing with Amie, engaging in small talk, when the defendant walked up to the both of you?
It was very short. It was around 2 to 3 minutes.
When you saw the defendant approach you and Amie and heard the statement,
Okay, I just had to for 1 second, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. If you guys could just look at this for 1 second. Right? Doesn't she look similar to Kim Mathers? I know this is not about Eminem and Kim Mathers, right? She looks a little similar. Okay, Kim Mathers and Jenna Jameson put together, she looks like that girl. But okay, let me go back. She just, to me, looks a little bit like her. But okay, moving forward. I know. Just had to put a little bit of humor into that. Yeah, she's her doppelganger. Do you guys believe in doppelgangers, by the way? Yeah, right. Don't you guys love her lip liner there? I've never used lip liner, by the way, but okay. Anyways, back to the case. Let's get back to that. Hold, please. Okay. Let's see. And oh my God, saying she doesn't like to talk because of what her job is. Yeah, she's not used to talking.
funny seeing you here. Did you get the impression that he knew her?
Yes.
In the 2 to 3 minutes that the defendant engaged in conversation with Amie, were you silent?
Yes.
So you weren't engaging in any conversation with them?
No.
Hi, Fred.
Did it appear to you that the defendant was directing his statements directly at Amie during this time
Yes.
and nobody else?
No.
Were you able to hear what they were talking about?
A little bit, but it was basically like, funny seeing you here. Basically called her a hypocrite and did not know why she was there. It kind of seemed like he that she never approved of the adult industry or didn't know why. He didn't know why she was there, basically.
So initially you had said that when he walked up to Amie, the defendant, that he appeared angry.
Mhm.
As I'm sorry, you have to
Yes,
answer.
sorry. Yes.
As this conversation continued for the 2 to 3 minutes, would you say his tone was still angry?
Yes.
You said he called her a hypocrite. Did he curse at her at any time during that 2 to 3 minutes?
Yes.
Could you describe any words or recall any curse words that he used at Amie during this time?
Something along the lines of, "You fucking ruined my life."
And could you tell me the volume at which he was speaking?
It was pretty loud and everybody kind of started looking over and she seemed embarrassed. So she tried to calm him down and kind of take the conversation elsewhere so people weren't staring at her.
How close were you standing to them?
Very close,
So it was loud enough for you to hear?
of course.
But you said you noticed, you were able to actually observe other people in that area looking at them?
Yes, we were in a line for the red carpet.
Now you said that Amie was trying to calm him down. Can you explain to us what it is that you mean when you say Amie was actually trying to calm him down?
I felt like she was embarrassed that everybody was staring. So she was just trying to calm him down to not be so loud. And that's when she kind of removed herself from the line to go and kind of be somewhere a little bit more private.
And just to be more specific, was she trying to calm him down with his words? With words?
Yes.
Well, she said it appeared. It didn't say that she was conclusively doing that. It appeared to this witness that Ms. Harwick was trying to calm the individual down.
Now I know you said that the defendant's voice was loud. Is that correct?
Yes.
How was Amy's voice in response to the defendant?
She seemed calm and was just trying to calm him down.
Did she yell at him?
No.
Did she?
I know she says that she seemed calm, but I don't think she was calm at all. I think that's just what she was trying to put on as an exterior. But I think underneath she was probably like scared to death.
She curse at him?
No.
Did she call him any names?
No.
Now, you said that at some point she tried to remove herself from that area.
Yes.
When she tried to remove herself, what do you mean by that? Like walk away?
Yes, try to walk away.
Did the defendant follow her?
Yes.
So about after 2 or 3 minutes of the defendant cursing at her and calling her names, at that point you saw the victim move away from that location.
Yes.
Now, could you tell us where they went from that point?
Yes, it was not very far, but far enough that people weren't paying attention. And there was like a bathroom, maybe 15, 20 feet away from the line.
Now, I want to, before we get to what they were doing when they had walked away, we'd established during testimony that the defendant was loud. Now, at any point during that 2 to 3 minutes before they walked away, did his volume increase at all?
Yes.
So, despite Amie consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased.
Objection to state the testimony. Overruled. Go ahead and finish question.
Objection meeting as well.
Well, I haven't heard the end of the question. Ask the question.
Sure. I actually had finished my question.
Well, despite that, what was like? I didn't hear it all.
Sure.
Hold on.
I can repeat it, Your Honor.
I can read it. Okay, so despite Amie consistently trying to calm him down, his volume increased. That was your question?
Yeah. Did his volume increase?
Okay, overruled. You can answer it.
Yes.
Now, you said that other people were looking at them as this conversation was taking place. I know you said Amie appeared to try to calm the defendant down. Did she have any other sort of reaction to the defendant confronting her, aside from just trying to calm him down?
I felt like she seemed a little embarrassed, so she just kept trying to calm him down, but it seemed like he was getting more upset by the fact that she was trying to calm him down.
Okay, that part of the speculation, that last part will be stricken.
The embarrassed portion remains, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, who walked away first? Was it Amie and then the defendant followed, or was it kind of like a collective walking away?
I believe Amie tried walking away and he followed her.
Now, you stated that where they went to was about 15 feet away near the bathroom area. Is that right? Could you still see them from where you were standing near the red carpet?
Yes.
Could you hear them?
No.
Despite not being able to hear what they were saying, could you still tell what the defendant's demeanor was from that distance?
What the demeanor appeared to be.
Correct.
It just seemed like they were arguing.
So I want to be more specific about the defendant. Could you see his body language from where you were?
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell me what that body language was?
Saying he has like a red mic, and then he also has this huge jug. Like it looked like he was drinking like a huge bottle of like whiskey the other day, or bourbon, or I don't even know. It looked like he was just on the like ready for court the other day and about to drink a whole thing of liquor. We'll see if he pulls out the thing. Even Jay made a comment too, but I was thinking it like, we'll see if he pulls it out. He has a bunch of interesting little things.
His arms are kind of like up and just very like furious with the situation.
So let the record reflect, Your Honor, that the witness raised both her left and right arms, moving around her hands in kind of circular motion. So you demonstrated kind of this movement I just described for the record. Would you say he was moving his arms erratically?
Yes.
All right.
Could you describe what other body movements he was doing while he was speaking with Amie from that distance?
It just kind of seemed like his arms were like kind of going up very angrily and was just very upset.
Overruled. This is what appeared to her based on his body language.
Now, I know you had met Amie for the first time that night. Did that interaction between the defendant and Amie cause you any concern? It's foundational.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. I know you just met Amie for the first time that night. But despite just meeting Amie for the very first time, did that interaction with the defendant and Amie cause you any concern at that time?
No.
Did you end up calling your friend Hernando at any point while you were with Amie?
Yes.
Yes. And why would you call Dr. Chavez while you were observing this interaction between the defendant and Amie?
Because he told me to stay with her while he went to go get us drinks. And then all of a sudden this happened, and I don't know. I felt bad for her because she was in a very awkward position, and it seemed like they might have just broken up, or definitely felt like it was an ex-boyfriend, but it seemed like it was something fresh and new. And I know that she walked away, so I knew that she was uncomfortable. So I was trying to call my friend back to help the situation. I didn't really know her.
And did you get in contact with Dr. Chavez only by cell phone? I'm sorry, only by phone call, or was it by text as well?
I believe I texted him because he didn't answer the phone.
And do you remember what you said to him in order to get him to come back?
I said, I think your friend needs you.
Based on that statement, did you feel that she needed help?
If I was in that situation, I would want help.
And in your opinion, it appeared that they had like just broken up.
Yes.
Now, did Hernando come back to the area where you were standing?
He did.
Did you tell him what you had observed between the defendant and Amie?
Sorry to pause it again, but I think it's interesting how she says that it seems like they had just broken up, by the way, like the body language and everything was. And this was almost 10 years ago. Like, I know it was 8, but you're close to a decade. And the emotions seemed, at least on his part, that it seemed like so fresh that it seemed like a recent breakup, because like he was even reading text message that she had sent him back when they had broken up 8 years ago. So all of this he had been reliving in his head. So he was living in the past. That was another thing that the defense had said, or no, the prosecution had said, that he was in this delusional state of mind where he was living in the past.
Yes.
Did you point out to him where they kind of walked off to?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Now, once Dr. Chavez came back, what did you do at that point?
I left to go get my makeup retouched up before the award show started.
Did you see Dr. Chavez at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Did you see Amie at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
And did you see the defendant at all for the remainder of the night?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Well, we got 4 minutes. You want to start?
I prefer to start on break.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break for lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Let's
Testified that you heard Mr. Pershouse say, "You fucking ruined my life," to Ms. Harwick.
Yeah.
Say something to the effect of.
Okay, well, she said yes, but
Okay, so this is the difference. I guess in this part, we get to see the other side questioning her. So I'm happy that we're playing this now, both sides.
was it something to the effect of those words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Detective Carranza and Masterson interviewed you on the 28th of October in 2021. Do you remember that?
I don't recall the exact date that
You
I was interviewed. Yes.
And that was a recorded interview.
Yeah.
And in that interview, detectives asked you, what was the first thing you heard Mr. Pershouse say? You remember that?
Yes.
And you responded that you heard him say, "Funny seeing you here."
Yes.
And you mentioned to the detectives that you and one of the detectives had a phone call prior to that interview. Do you remember that?
They called me to set up an interview.
Well, in the interview, you specifically referenced this phone call that you had with a detective. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you brought it up and you told the detectives that in that phone call, the detective had asked you about hearing this specific phrase, ruining his life or something like that.
Yes.
And so in this phone call, the detectives told you, "Hey, Mr. Pershouse said this phrase. Do you remember hearing it?"
Yes.
And you specifically told the detectives in your interview that you did not remember those exact words. Is that correct?
Yes.
It was the detective who told you in the phone call that Mr. Pershouse had said, "You ruined my life."
Objection to state's testimony.
That's cross-examination. Is it correct that the detective is the one that made that statement to you over the phone?
I believe so.
And you specifically told them in the interview that you hadn't heard those exact words, but that you had heard something along the lines of jealousy, that he was expressing jealousy. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That he was there shooting an adult film event, and he was upset that she was there, right?
Yes.
Because previously she had a problem with that industry.
It seemed like it.
And so now she's here. And so that was the reason that he was explaining to Ms. Harwick why he was upset.
Technical speculation.
It's sustained.
You don't have to. Did you hear him make specific statements to the effect of, why are you here if you had such a problem with it?
Something on the lines.
On direct, you testified that Ms. Harwick tried to walk away and Mr. Pershouse followed.
Yes.
And when you spoke to the detectives in the interview, in the recorded interview, isn't it true that you were not actually sure about that point? Whether he followed her?
I definitely knew that he followed her.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript of your interview?
Objection. She doesn't need her memory refreshing. Her question.
Yeah, she said she stated that you do remember that. Is that correct?
I remember her leaving and him following. And then
So Jay said, like I said the other day, I don't think it was coincidental. He stalked her socials and knew she'd be going. So in chat, who do you think, like he was able to choose, Gareth was able to choose what events he wanted to photograph at. Who in chat thinks he chose this event because he knew Amie was going to be there, even though he said to her, "Funny seeing you here," like in a sarcastic way? Do you think he knew beforehand that Amie was going to be there? If you think he was going to be there, will you like either just say it in chat, or you can put a 1 or an 1111, but like, why didn't he go to other events that she was at? I mean, if that's the case, like, I'm just wondering why he didn't do it sooner. I'm curious about that, but it does kind of seem like he did go there because of that. I mean, I'm unsure. I go back and forth about it, but it does kind of seem like he went there because he knew that she was going to be there too. And maybe he did go to other events that she was at and he just watched her or something in those ones. And this was the first time he actually talked to her. I don't know.
I'm going near the bathroom.
Looking at page 10, line 26 of the transcript, isn't it true that you said, and I quote, I think they just, well, she walked away and I think he followed. I'm not sure.
Well,
Isn't it true that that is what you told the detectives during your interview on the 28th of October, 2021?
I definitely saw them walk away and they went near the bathroom.
Objection non-responsive.
Hey, Max, good to see you. So, no, he did about 2 weeks after that. And so they had not been together for almost 10 years. And then he saw her at that event, and within 2 weeks, he had killed her. So, I can do a little refresher after that. But yeah, it's crazy.
The question is, did you say to the detectives during your interview that she walked away and I think he followed? I'm not sure.
We're correct, and she's answered it. Well, that's the way she answered it. Are you disagreeing that you make that statement to the officers?
I'm sorry?
Do you disagree with what he just stated? Did you make that statement to the detectives that interviewed you? Repeat the statement.
And then I think they just, well, she walked away and I think he followed. I'm not sure.
I know for sure that he followed her.
Okay, that's not inconsistent. You followed her.
The question relates to her statement to the detectives.
Right. So did you make that statement to the detectives that you followed her?
I thought I did.
Okay.
My question only relates to not what your memory is today, but what you told the detectives when you were interviewed back in 2021.
But that is your memory today. That's what she recalls telling you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure I understand the timeline. You are with Mr. Chavez and Ms. Harwick online to get to the red carpet, right?
In line, yes.
Thank you. And the specific reason that the line exists is to take pictures on the red carpet, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Chavez leaves to get drinks, right?
Yes.
And how much time passes between Mr. Chavez leaving and Mr. Purshouse approaching?
Within 3 minutes or so.
And then there's a 2 to 3 minute interaction between Mr. Purshouse and Ms. Harwick.
Something like that. Me and her were just having very, very small talk. I just met her.
I mean, once Mr. Purshouse arrives, then the interaction between the two of them before they leave the line is about 2 to 3 minutes.
Very, very fast. A couple minutes.
Yes, what gave it away, Max Smith? Her last name actually is Jameson. It's not Jenna Jameson, though. And I don't think that's her real last name. But yes, so they actually were at an adult entertainment award show. And that's where she was winning an award. And that's where Amie Harwick, that's who this case is about. She's like a renowned sex therapist, and she was there as well, networking. And they happened to be in line near each other, and she heard everything that was going on. The woman on the stand testifying.
A couple minutes. And you hear some of the things that were said, but not everything.
Correct.
You were looking at your phone.
I was just in line. I wasn't necessarily looking at my phone. The only time I really looked at my phone was when I was trying to contact Hernando.
When Mr. Chavez does walk back up to the line, Ms. Harwick and Mr. Purshouse weren't there anymore, right?
Correct.
They'd already left.
Yes.
And so the part of the conversation and the phrase that you have testified to that you heard, Mr. Chavez was not there when you heard that phrase.
He was not there when he heard the phrase.
You told Mr. Chavez the general area they had gone.
Yes.
And he stayed with you. in line?
I already finished the red carpet, so I no longer needed to be in line. I was just standing there with her to keep her company while he went to go get us drinks.
Right, but I'm asking, when Mr. Chavez comes back and you tell him where Ms. Harwick and Mr. Hursthouse went,
Mhm.
then Mr. Chavez stayed with you?
No.
No. Specifically, when Mr. Chavez returned from the bar, you didn't like run over towards him as he was coming to you, did you?
No.
At some point, well after the XBiz award event, Mr. Chavez contacted you and informed you that Ms. Harwick had passed away.
Yes.
And he told you that you should contact the police.
He asked if I could.
He said it was important that you tell them what you heard.
Yes.
And you did contact the detectives.
Yes.
And you had that phone call that we talked about before.
Yes.
And in that phone call, the detectives asked you what you remembered and what you heard about what happened in the event.
I told them the gist of it.
The detectives told you that there was this phrase at issue, whether he said, "You ruined my life, bitch."
Sustained. Let's not go over that issue again. Let's move on.
To your knowledge, that phone call was not recorded.
To my knowledge, I don't remember.
Prior to your testimony today, the prosecution sent you, or the detective sent you, a transcript of your interview from 2021.
Yes.
And you recently spoke to DA, the district attorneys, about this case, right?
Yes.
And you spoke to them about what you remembered from that night.
Yes.
When was this conversation?
Today? Is that what you're asking?
No, prior to today's testimony. Did you have a conversation with Mr. Avila or Ms. Mariano or any of the detectives about your recollections and, what happened that night?
I just remember asking them, or they basically asked me to come to trial, but I don't remember really talking about everything except for when they initially recorded everything.
I think we go ahead.
Ms. Jameson, you were asked several questions by Mr. Franzel about this phone call you had with detectives prior to coming in for an interview. So just to be clear, you physically went to a police station and gave an interview, is that correct?
Yes, they came to Henderson, Nevada, where I was residing at the time, and I met with them at the local police station in Henderson.
But prior to physically meeting with law enforcement, you actually had a phone call with a detective, is that correct?
I think so.
Or somebody from a member of law enforcement?
Yes, to schedule up the interview.
And was that an interview or some sort of logistical phone call?
Logistics.
Was that to set up this meeting in Henderson to take a statement from you?
Yes, because I believe they were all in Los Angeles, and I told them that I was living in Henderson, so they said they would come up to me.
Would it be fair to say that your recollection of the night and what you told detectives is captured in your interview at the police station in Nevada?
Yes.
And prior to today, you had an opportunity to actually listen and watch that interview. Is that correct?
I listened to it. I didn't watch it.
I'm sorry. You actually listened to it. The
I
audio.
listened to it. Correct.
Now, when Mr. Franzel, that's defense counsel over here, asked you some questions, he asked you about this statement that you heard the defendant say something to the effect of "You ruined my life." You recall that?
Yes.
We talked about it on direct examination as well.
Yes.
Now, I think the gist of the question, and you appeared confused. I'm going to ask you again.
Well, all right. That part would be stricken. When you ask, go ahead and ask again.
Were you confused by Mr. Franzel's question when he asked you that?
Yes.
Okay. So, as a point of clarity, you appear confused by Mr. Franzel's question, so let me ask you in a different way. Was that statement fed to you by detectives?
No.
Do you independently recollect hearing the defendant say something to the effect of "You ruined my life"?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
The phone call with the detective or law enforcement member that occurred prior to your interview in Henderson, it's your testimony today that phone call was purely logistical.
Yes.
And that there were no questions about what happened at the XBiz Awards.
No.
Okay, I have in my hand what I'd like to mark as an SD. It's a CD, which is an excerpt of the interview with Ms. Jameson. I'm showing counsel transcript.
And the same objection as my maybe objection for one moment.
Yes. This is going to her statement regarding what she characterizes as logistical conversation.
Definitely.
And may we approach?
All right, Counsel.
Prior to that little break we just took, you had just testified that the conversation you had with the detective before the interview was purely logistical.
Yes.
What do you mean by logistical?
Setting up where we're gonna meet because I was in Henderson, they were in LA, and basically they were coming to Henderson and they asked me to meet them at the local Henderson police station that was near my house.
Okay, and you didn't speak during that initial call. You didn't speak about the case at all, other than just setting up the meeting.
I honestly don't recall.
Okay. Now she says she does not recall, counsel. Why don't you approach, refresh her memory at this point? She says she doesn't recall. So that's different now.
Okay.
Do you have a transcript?
I have the actual interview that I wrote.
This just reminds me for a second of Amber Heard. I know I always bring up Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, where Amber would be like, I don't remember, and Camille would be like, let's refresh your memory. I can't do a good Camille, but she would say that, and then Amber would be like all upset, and then Camille would bring something or show something to refresh her memory. But okay, pressing play.
Well, show her the transcript first. Yeah, show her the transcript.
I have to say she doesn't remember.
And I'm going to refresh her recollection. Would it refresh your recollection to listen to the interview?
You can do it either way.
I can read it.
Right. Oh, she said she can read it. All right.
Okay, Your Honor, may I please cross-examine this witness?
You are.
I know the prosecution is playing an ample role here.
Well, all right. He's free to recollect, have a witness's recollection refreshed by any means. And if you're going to play that excerpt, then go ahead.
All right.
Give her the transcript to follow along, if you would.
That makes another brief moment.
Yes.
Our next witness is Rebecca July.
Okay.
May I place this here? Sorry. Let me get one more thing. Volume good?
Not a long excerpt, so.
Did that refresh your recollection?
A little bit, but it was honestly a long time ago, so I don't really remember too much.
You still don't remember too much, you said?
I don't really remember that initial phone call.
Okay.
Having just listened to your own statement about that phone call, doesn't refresh your recollection about what was said in that phone call?
Hold on. Well, based on what he played to her.
Based on what it
It's just what he played to her.
What you played, that was me in Henderson talking. That wasn't the initial phone call, so I don't really remember the phone call.
So that was not the initial phone call you received?
No, what he played for me, that's me in Henderson at the police department.
Okay.
Okay, so when you were being interviewed by detectives, you told the detectives, hey, that phone call that we had, in that phone call, you asked me if he said you ruined my life, bitch.
Well, no, I understand. He's setting a foundation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is what counsel stated correct? Repeat it if you would.
In the October interview with the detectives in Henderson, you told them, hey, when you called me and we had a phone call, you asked me, did Mr. First House say you ruined my life, bitch? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you told the detectives that you don't remember those exact words.
It was something on the lines of "you ruined my life, bitch." It might have not been those exact words, but he was just mad at her because she was he was basically calling her a hypocrite why she was there when he didn't really accept that, or when she didn't really accept
She was
that.
saying something along the lines of, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All I'm asking about is what you said in that interview to the detective.
Right, but she said she can't recall. It was something along the lines of what you stated.
I know that.
Your Honor, Mr. Frenzel is
That-
asking the same
I understand.
question, and he's getting the same answer.
Yes,
And just
and-
because he doesn't like the answer. doesn't
Counsel,
mean
no
he gets
speaking
it.
objections. No, I don't want to hear any editorial with respect to that. Okay, that's it. She stated something along the lines of what you stated to her. It remains, the record remains as such.
He looks like a judge like that I would not want to mess with. Doesn't he look like a tough judge like that he would not take any crap or anything like that? Like if I was in court and I had to look up at him for something, I would just be really scared.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything?
Do you, as you sit here today and testify independently, recall the defendant saying something along those lines of "you ruined my life" to Amie Harwick at the ex-visit boards?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything on based on that question?
No.
Okay, ma'am, you may step down. Thank you very much.
Can she be subject to recall?
Yes, make it available if you would.
Well, out of state.
Yes, it's up to.
Okay, so if you, yeah, if you want.
We can make it available, but they would have to take they have to take care of the logistics.
That's fine.
Okay, fine. Make her available and they'll take care of the logistics if they need it. All right, next witness, if you would.
The people call Ms. Shalot.
She dressed super cute to court too. She was wearing like white cowboy boots and stuff too. I don't know if you guys saw that. But so for the people that weren't here, and I don't know if you guys watched the replay, I'm not sure exactly what you want to see. Not the closing. Sorry, y'all saying I can't show you the closing. But again, I don't know if you want to see the opening. Because I mean, that has a lot to do with how the case goes. I mean, the opening for the defense is kind of weak. But okay, so you've seen a lot now. So there's the opening still. And let me see what else that there is. Let me see. Hold please. Play some music in your ears, I don't know. Okay, let me see. Okay. So let's see. Yes, the opening, you've already seen one friend go up that was with her that night. There's the roommate that goes up that talks about the blood-curdling scream. So I don't know if that one's 8 minutes. There is, let's see. We've already seen the other best friend. There's the brother. Now I know that we showed the brother last time, but so the people that weren't here last time haven't seen the brother yet. There's Dr. Sleep that I wanted to show. For us to go to bed later, or not later, whenever this is over. And he makes actually good points, even though he's Dr. Sleep. But let's see what else, if anything else. Because I know there was still some stuff. I'm trying to see what else. Because I'm trying to think who didn't see everything. Okay, I know Misfit, you were here. Okay, so Austin, you were not here. Okay, I'm like doing roll call the opposite way. Let's see. I'm trying to think what I should show or not. Let me see. Okay, if you guys want to see, the Ring camera, I could do that it shows how he messed with the Ring camera. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Let me see. Here, I'll just read the different ones to you, but now you guys can look at them on your own. But hopefully you don't. So, okay, we saw the body cam. There's the blood curling scream, like I said. The friend talks about, which is horrible because they make him yell on the stand, they're just really cruel in this. There's the Ring video. it talks about the debilitating depression, heartbroken ex never intended to kill Amie. That's the defense going over it. And then there's the prosecution goes over their opening. Or if you guys want to just watch the replay, you can watch that on the replay. So there's really just, yeah, there's pretty much just the opening, not the closing, the Ring camera, and the brother from last week that I didn't show. So I could show that. And another thing from like Law and Crime that goes into it. And maybe Dr. Sleep. I don't know. It's up to you guys if you want to just watch the replay or what. I had a friend with that same last name, and that's funny. You had a doctor, Dr. Payne. I've had a few doctors that I'll have to tell you on a different time, Edward. Not while I'm live. Too funny. Yes, he tried to cover his tracks, not to act of someone distraught. Yeah, I agree. Okay, what is this? I also went with a Dr. Dong, but it was a cardiologist, not a urologist. Oh my God, can you imagine? I've seen a lot of weird last names. Major Pain. Oh my God, now I have that in my head. Okay, I think most people were here for the prosecution and the opening. I mean, yeah, I was going to say the closing and the opening again. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Let me see. So I don't think that I need to show all that again. You guys can watch the replay, but let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to share that I didn't share last time. Let's see. Let me see. I already showed you guys the restraining order from last time, so I don't know if you remember seeing it. And by the way, have you guys all heard about what's going on at Burning Man? That's kind of crazy too. Okay, I'll play This Is the shorter one. So for people that weren't here last time, if you want to watch this, I'll put it on 1.25. All right, I'll share this. So it's really going to only be like, it's not going to be that long since it's going to be on 1.25. And again, the trial started last week, so it resumes tomorrow. So I think I'm going to do a daytime live tomorrow. Not that early because I do have some stuff I have to do tomorrow. So maybe around 3 maybe. So 6 o'clock your time, possibly 4 my time, 7 your time, Eastern Standard Time, I'm saying. Possibly. We'll talk after this and see what's a good time. But I might go live tomorrow in the afternoon. And then I want to do one day of the full court, but we'll see. All right, I'm pressing play.
Top of the hour. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted
Oh
Rowland.
my
Glad to have
God.
you along with us on this.
Wow, he sounds like he's on crack. Okay, that too fast. Hold on. And then I should go to Dr. Sleep after that. You guys are going to be like, oh my God, the difference is going to be crazy. Hold on. That was just way too much. I can't believe that was 1.25. That seemed like 2.25. Okay. Maybe I need to put him on 0.75 or something. Let's see.
This Monday afternoon, we are in several courtrooms this afternoon in South Carolina. Jury selection is wrapping up, and then friend Larry begin. We're also to begin tomorrow in that case. And let's begin with that case out in the state of California. And to get us caught up and up to speed, here's Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft.
We have Dr. Amie Harwick.
Dr. Amie Harwick was a Hollywood family and sex therapist who paid for her PhD by modeling and fire eating at LA parties.
It still hurts you, and it's okay to say it hurts.
She counseled the Braxtons on Wee's reality television show, Braxton Family Values, had her own YouTube channel and a growing following, but her rise to fame was cut short on February 15th, 2020. Police responded to a 911 call in Hollywood Hills. They were told a woman was being assaulted in her home. They found Harwick on the ground beneath her third-story balcony. An autopsy found she died of strangulation and injuries from the fall. Her ex-fiancé, actor and comedian Drew Carey, spoke to CBS 48 Hours. They were together for more than a year, but broke up in 2018. Harwick reached out to him in 2020, just 2 days prior to her murder.
I got a text from her, I would love to get together with you and talk. And I said, yeah, I would love to do that. I love you.
Are you sad you never got that chance?
I never got it. I never got a chance to do it.
Investigators found evidence of a struggle inside the house. Take a listen to what else they found from Investigation Discovery's Death by Fame.
LAPD investigators saw beads that trickled through from the bedroom all the way to the balcony of the home that looked like they came from a necklace.
They also found a syringe with nicotine in it. Although she wasn't injected with it, there was enough nicotine in there to be death-causing.
And I wanted to know, did the whole body cam inside video play? Because I know it ended up going to the outside body cam for some reason of him screaming, like when I believe he found her body. Did it ended up showing the whole inside or not? Let me know, because my computer got weird. It got gremlins started going crazy. So I don't know if it showed the whole thing, like where it showed the beads and it showed the syringe or not. I'm not sure if it showed that part, because I was showing the body cam of the outside and the inside of the crime scene, but I don't know if it played the whole thing.
Detectives soon zeroed in on Gareth Pursehouse, Harwick's ex-boyfriend who had allegedly been physically abusive. She had filed restraining orders, but he allegedly kept stalking and harassing her, even 8 years after their breakup. Here's more from Harwick's friends on Investigation Discovery's Death by Fame.
She talked about how she was afraid of him. She would say, he's a computer genius and he might, be monitoring my phones and so forth.
She's always been scared, and she's always mentioned that she feared for her safety.
During a search of Pursehouse's home, police found syringes, the same type and content as the one found at the crime scene. They also found bloody clothing, and he was arrested and charged with the murder of his ex-girlfriend. Prosecutors accused Pursehouse of throwing Harwick over the balcony to her death. Ironically, before her death, Pursehouse posted this video on Twitter, joking about a similar killing in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, first season, the brother and sister are up in the castle, and then the kid sees him through the window, and the brother has to go and throw the kid off and to kill him. And even though it's evil, I feel kind of bad for the brother.
I know I paused it last time, but I just think it's creepy that he was talking about throwing someone off of the balcony and how he's smiling, and then it happens right after. I mean, I don't think he was planning on throwing her off of the balcony. I think he panicked, and that's when he did that. I do think he was planning on killing her, but I just think that's weird that those two things happened.
House has pleaded not guilty in the death of his ex-girlfriend.
Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, this is Dr. Amie Harwick.
Again, jury selection beginning this week, and we'll have opening statements a little later in the week. It's a trial that we've been anticipating here at Court TV. Let's talk about it with trial attorney and host of Once Upon a Crime in Hollywood, the podcast, Kelly Hyman. She's in Miami, Florida, and national trial attorney Michael Jaffer. He is in Michigan. All right, this case, Kelly, it's almost like out of a horror movie with this idea of a person she can't allegedly get rid of restraining orders, 8 years of back and forth after they broke up. Friends say that she was paranoid that this guy was stalking her. And here we are. She's dead. He's on trial.
This is horrible, Ted. Here we have this beautiful, young, vibrant woman who had an amazing career, that was doing good things, and she was killed. She filed restraining orders. She tried to get away from this guy. Ultimately, at the end, she's dead. Hopefully, her family will have some type of justice, and whoever did this will be accountable for their actions.
Mike, we don't know a ton about the state's case. We know that there, was some bloody clothing found at him, and they zeroed in on him shortly after the incident, because you had all these people coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, you got to look at him because she was scared of him." At the end of the day, it's easy to point fingers at the person that was that guy that, she was scared of, but there's got to be more to it than that. And I guess the bloody clothing is going to be real big.
I fully agree. And my opinion on these investigations now has changed in the past 10 years. And here's why. Here's what I'm going to say. The police and the detectives who investigated this know things we don't know. I'm assuming, this is a prediction, I'm assuming that there's a bunch of forensic evidence, telephone evidence, tracking evidence that we don't yet know, but we're going to find out about soon. Because for them to, arrest a guy, the overwhelming majority of people who are arrested in murders like this end up getting convicted. Why? Especially these days, because the overwhelming amount of investigative tools that investigators have far surpass what we had 20 years ago and what we had growing up. So we don't know much, but we're going to find out a lot. Yeah, the bloody clothing is going to be a big deal. They've undoubtedly ran tests, but there's other stuff that have connected him to this murder. We'll find out about it.
Yeah, and we would assume that his phone, it's either, one of two things. It's right there at the murder scene, or it's conveniently turned off during the time of the incident. It's pretty hard to get away with anything when you're dragging around these phones. And we know he was a guy that was on the internet and posting things and, posting videos, et cetera, et cetera. His digital footprint is going to be massive, maybe even more important than those bloody clothes.
That's going to be key, because that's in regards to pinpoint.
Yeah, Jariah, you're so right. She tried all the avenues you're supposed to, and the system failed her. And in the doctor's sleep, I always say doctor's sleep, it's Dr. Grande, but he actually, I could play it, I guess, after, and then you guys can all go to sleep after, or whatever you're going to do. But he talks about all the things that she did, and he makes really good points in that video. But I just wanted to highlight that, and his clothing was bloody. He didn't burn them. I don't know. I guess not. I mean, we'll hear everything during the trial, so I'm not. I guess not.
Pointing him potentially at the place. So the phone, any type of evidence like that is going to definitely going to be key for the state in this matter.
What about the Drew Carey connection? I mean, it's just an interesting bit of information, Michael. She dated Drew Carey, a well-known figure. Do you think that this jury will ever even know that? Yes, she had a conversation with him or messaged him 2 days beforehand, but to what degree do you think the state would want that information in there? And I'm sure the defense wouldn't mind it, because it just adds another human being into the mix. But do you think Drew Carey comes in at all here?
Absolutely. I think he's going to have to. I think he might even testify, and I'll tell you why. The timeline works out where she dated this accused murderer before she basically became famous and elevated herself and became engaged to Drew Carey. What they're going to probably show is that he became very jealous when she had her own reality show, and when she got onto the Braxton reality show. She started, she got engaged to, Drew Carey.
That'll be super weird if Drew Carey comes on the stand, but it seems like that he's going to be a witness. So that'll just be weird. I read in one thing that it said that he had sympathy for him because of the abuse he went through as a child. So I'm assuming that Amie disclosed to him she must have talked about her psycho ex and told her about the stuff that he went through as a kid, and that's how he knew about it. I'm going to try and find an article about that, but I guess that'll be stuff that he brings up on the stand.
Harry, and then all of a sudden the prior ex-boyfriend, who she had a domestic abuse situation with, became very jealous and he kept coming back and back and back. They're going to have to bring in Drew Carey. They're going to have to put him on the stand and ask him, hey, did she ever complain about this guy? Undoubtedly, she's complained about this guy to her fiance, because she was engaged to her fiance after she had all these incidents with this gentleman. So, I mean, undoubtedly, they're going to bring him in for sure.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that. Another wrinkle in this case. We'll see it all play out of Los Angeles there in that jury selection process. Started it last week, actually. We expect opening statements tomorrow.
Okay, so you guys have to let me ask saying, Drew Carey, come on down. You're the next to the stand. Like, The Price is Right. By the way, my mom was on The Price is Right, but I'll talk about that another time. And that was back in the 70s, before I was born. She won, though. But here, I wanted to show another thing that, did I send it to myself? Did it not get sent yet? Another thing that she had sent herself, Amie Harwick. Oh, no, she sent to her friend about him finding her number. Okay, so the night after that, they ran into each other, quote unquote, he found her number and he messaged her. So it's so hard to read, but here, I'm going to try to show it. It's really hard to read, though. So let me see. So you can't really see it, but she's messaging her friend. So defendant found Amie's number. So they had just seen each other like the night before at that event. And then she writes her friend saying that her crazy ex found her number. So now she's very scared. So that's one of the things. And I don't know if I played the 911 calls or not, but they're over an hour long. So maybe I'll put that into a video. I think I might have shown it last time. But okay, I'm going to end it, I guess, with Dr. Sleep, and then we can all go to sleep, because he actually does make really good points. So I'll say bye to everyone first. Actually, I'll play it and then I'll say bye. It's not that long. It's a short video. All right. I'm going to put him on 1.25. If I have to change it to 1.5, I will do so. Let me know if you guys want me to make it faster. Oh, no, wait. Hold on. It's screwed up. Hold, please. Okay. Let's try this again. Let me know if I need to put it on 1.25, or if you guys want to see the opening, not closing, but if you want to see the opening statements, or if you want this to be faster than 1.25, let me know, please. Thank you. And please press 1 or 1111.
Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Amie Harwick? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So first, I'll look at the background in the case of Amie Harwick. I'll move to the timeline of the crime, then I'll offer my analysis. Amie Harwick was born on May 20, 1981 in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. She graduated from North Penn High School in 1999. She attended California Polytechnic University, earning an undergraduate degree in psychology. She then attended Pepperdine University, where she earned a master's degree in clinical psychology. She would go on to attend the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality, eventually earning a PhD in human sexuality. She became a licensed marriage and family therapist. She was well known as a psychotherapist and sex therapist where she lived in West Hollywood, California. She was active on social media. She was in various podcasts and appeared on television. She also offered direct services to clients. She charged $200 an hour, but she also provided low-cost mental health counseling to adult film industry performers. At some point prior to becoming a psychotherapist, Amie Harwick started dating a man named Gareth Pershouse. He was a photographer and software engineer. The relationship ended acrimoniously in 2011. That same year, Harwick filed a temporary restraining order against Pershouse, but it was dismissed after she failed to attend a follow-up hearing. She filed another one in 2012. This order was in effect until April of 2015. Pershouse was ordered to stay at least 100 yards away from Harwick and refrain from any type of contact. Here's some of the allegations that Harwick made against Pershouse in her petitions for restraining orders. She said that he choked her, suffocated her, kicked her, dropped her to the ground with force, pushed her against walls, slammed her head to the ground, and punched her with a closed fist. She indicated that Pershouse pushed her out of a car on a freeway in June of 2011. It was at night and she was stranded. She said that in March of 2012, he broke into her apartment complex and smashed 10 picture frames on her door. The next day, he broke in again, but this time he left 4 dozen flowers taped to her door. The day after that, he returned once again. This time he waited outside of her door and played music. After this, it does appear that, at least for a time, Pershouse gave up trying to contact Harwick.
Okay, so did you guys hear that? How he went back and forth for doing like crazy stuff and then doing romantic stuff and then like going back and forth. And that's the type of things that you do. I mean, that like abusive people, like they'll do is they'll go from like, I hate you, all these terrible things, and then like, I love you, I need you, you're the most important person in the world, and then back and forth to I hate you. And like, that's what he was doing, was like he broke all these things at the front of her door, and then sent all these roses the next day, and it was like this pattern.
She said that there was some mysterious occurrences, like she thought somebody broke into her apartment and wiped out her computer and things like that, but there was no proof that Pershouse was the one responsible for what happened. Harwick would become engaged to the actor Drew Carey in 2018. They would split up after having been engaged for only 10 months. This takes us to January of 2020. Harwick was attending some type of red carpet event that had to do with the adult film industry. It was hosted by Stormy Daniels. Evidently, Pershouse was working at the event as a photographer and saw Harwick. Pershouse confronted Harwick, then spoke to her for about 45 minutes. Harwick's friends would overhear Pershouse saying a few things, including, "You are a hypocrite, you broke my heart, how can you be here?" He also talked about voicemails that he had received from her in 2012. He was repeating the content of those voicemails back to her. After the event was over, the two would speak for another half hour. Later, Harwick would tell friends that she was shaken by the encounter. She mentioned putting together a safety plan that involved talking to the police and buying pepper spray. Apparently, she told Pershouse that she had ordered pepper spray and hired a contractor to check the locks at her home. She would later tell somebody else that she was unsure how to protect herself. This takes us to February 15, 2020. Harwick was at a residence in Hollywood Hills. She was texting a friend. The last text she sent was at 1:01 a.m. The police responded to Harwick's residence at 1:16 a.m. after receiving a report of a woman screaming. Harwick's roommate met the police on the street and told them Harwick was being assaulted inside the residence. They made entry into the home and found Harwick beneath a third-floor balcony. She was unconscious and severely injured. The police said it was apparent she fell from the balcony or she was thrown off of the balcony. She was transported to the hospital where she died. The cause of death was blunt force injuries to the head and torso caused by the fall. There was also evidence of manual strangulation. The police said there was evidence of forced entry into the home and evidence of a struggle. Surveillance video revealed that the assailant was a white male dressed in black. The police alleged that this individual was Gareth Pershouse. Pershouse was arrested about a day later and charged with murder and first-degree residential burglary. He would plead not guilty on April 16, 2020. At the time making this video, he is awaiting trial. Now moving to my analysis. There are a number of elements that really stand out in this case that I think have led to it being considered both unusual and significant. I will talk about several here. The first one is how Amie Harwick was a high-profile figure. She was not only a PhD, but an active psychotherapist in Hollywood. She had been a model. At one point, she was in Playboy. She was very active defending the rights of people in the adult film industry. High-profile figures often have stalkers. This is not unusual. But to have a stalker who works in a similar industry and happens to be at the same event is quite peculiar. I don't know if Pershouse was simply working that night and the encounter was a coincidence, or if he selected that event to work because he knew she would be there. Pershouse had valid press credentials, so he could select that location to take pictures if he wanted. I think he probably did pick it because Harwick was there, but that's just a guess.
So he seems to think the same thing, like how he picked that event because he knew that she would be there. So, I mean, that does make a lot of sense. And I just wonder why he didn't do that sooner, unless he just didn't find out before that. But it does seem to make a lot of sense, and that's what he's saying. And I know that's what a lot of you guys think in chat as well.
Of course, I don't know. The next unusual item is the length of time between when Pursehouse no longer had contact with Harwick and when he allegedly murdered her. About 8 years had passed. Often stalkers will lose interest after that amount of time just because they get distracted or due to legal consequences. Pursehouse really didn't have any legal consequences, and I guess he was not adequately distracted. I suppose one possibility is that something reactivated his stalking behavior. Something brought back the pain of rejection, the desire to be with Harwick, or both.
Sorry to pause it again, but and I always make him look bad, but I think obviously I think that obsession was always underneath, like, there, but by seeing her at that event, that reignited that obsession, like, to the core.
Perhaps something before the red carpet event, which explains why he was there, or perhaps just running into her was enough if it was not planned. Perhaps it was almost like someone who was addicted to a substance like cocaine or heroin. They stop using for several years. Then if they decide to use again, a little bit of the substance can cause a strong reaction. They don't have a tolerance for it anymore. So if this was an unplanned encounter, maybe he was just overwhelmed with all those feelings, and it was just too much for him to process. The next item has to do with the characteristics of Gareth Pursehouse, running under the assumption for a moment that he's guilty, which of course at the time making this video has not been established. Friends describe Pursehouse as hyper and a little peculiar, but otherwise fairly normal and well-adjusted. His personality seemed to change after being rejected by Harwick. This is when he started exhibiting the stalking behavior, which was a new behavior for him. It would seem that he believed there was something special about his relationship with Amie Harwick, like maybe they were destined to be together, she was an ideal partner, like a perfect love, nobody else could function as a substitute. Pursehouse could have pursued any number of potential love interests, but he became fixated on one. It would seem he just couldn't stop thinking about her. He couldn't stop imagining what a life with her would be like. In an interview, Drew Carey would say that Pursehouse was mentally ill and abused as a child. He didn't say it in a mean way. He actually said it in the context of forgiving Pursehouse for the alleged murder. I'm guessing that Drew Carey heard that information from Harwick, who of course had firsthand experience with Pursehouse, but I don't know how the information was transmitted or if it's even true. However, one thing I did find interesting in terms of Purshouse's history was that his father, who is now dead, was accused of stalking. Apparently, his father engaged in long-term pervasive stalking that was somewhat similar to Purshouse's alleged behavior. Perhaps Pursehouse learned this behavior. Maybe it was something genetic, a little bit of both. There's no way to know for sure. The last item in my analysis has to do with how Harwick did everything she could to protect herself and yet was murdered. Harwick provided counseling to survivors of domestic violence, giving them advice on how to stay safe. She would provide them with hope for a better future, try to give them the tools to adjust to the stress they had endured. Amie Harwick did appear to follow her own advice. She did everything correct in order to protect herself from Pursehouse. She obtained a restraining order. She told her friends about her concerns with Pursehouse. She had a security system. She had a gate. According to the autopsy, she fought back at her attacker on the night she died. Now, of course, there was the one hearing for the restraining order that she missed in 2011, but that might have been because she was afraid of Pursehouse, or maybe he promised to stop harassing her, so she dropped it at that point. She did, of course, file a restraining order the next year. Even with all the action she took to protect herself, she was still murdered. Other than hiring armed guards, buying a firearm and training with it, or moving away, it's hard to imagine what else she could have done. Those actions, of course, aren't for everybody. Not everybody can do those things, and not everybody should. For example, with gun ownership and using a gun for self-defense, not everybody is capable of safely handling a firearm, and some people simply don't want to have to be put in that situation where they're going to use lethal force. It's understandable. And Amie should not have been pushed to a point where she had to contemplate options like that. She shouldn't have had to do all the things that she did do to protect herself. As I mentioned, she told someone she didn't know what to do. There have been a number of people who have been looking for changes to the law in wake of Harwick's murder. Perhaps having a clear set of instructions and protections for stalking victims would be a start. No victim of stalking should ever have to tell somebody they don't know what to do to protect themselves. The law should have a remedy for them. The law should have a plan that victims could follow. Another problem in this situation is the nature of a stalker who turns to homicide. The difficulty for the victim is they don't know when or if the stalker is going to strike. Being on the defense all the time is stressful, tiring, and drains resources. Being on the stalker side is relatively easy. They can just live their lives until one day they decide to commit murder. They get to choose the time and place of the attack. This advantage makes the situation so lopsided against the victim, many people have lost hope. They take on this mentality that whenever the stalker chooses to kill, they will simply do it. What can be done to stop them? Closer supervision of stalkers and mandatory mental health care would be a good start, but unfortunately, there is no easy answer. This is a tough problem that has been around for many years. Stalkers can roam with impunity, and there are no consequences until they strike. They make people nervous for a long period of time, make them fearful. Stalkers get to exact a terrible revenge on their victims, even if they don't choose to do something like homicide. My final thoughts here. Amie Harwick left a legacy of trying to help people, trying to protect people. Her death stands as a reminder of the dangers of stalking, how it is not an innocent consequence of unrequited love, rather a destructive behavior that society cannot tolerate. Those are my thoughts on the case of Amie Harwick. Please put any opinions and thoughts.
I thought he actually had a lot of good points that time. Like, usually I know a lot of people say he puts them to sleep, but he made a lot of good points about how she did all of the right things besides buying a firearm and getting a security guard. She really did all those things. I mean, I wish she had that taser that she spoke about, but unless she like had it in her pocket, I don't know what she could have done really. And it talks about how the laws are more for like, they aren't really for the victims or the survivors. They, if anything, are more helping, like, and the stalkers have it more easier than like, because it's not if, it's when they're gonna strike. And it's just, he just made a lot of good points, I thought. And it's scary thinking it like that way, because you never know like when it's gonna happen. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, very good points, Jay said. Is he from Philly, you said, when he said do his accent game through. I don't know what you're saying, but I have no idea where he's from. Okay, I'm afraid to play this because it got me, I think, in trouble last time. It just says the final hours of Amie Harwick. So I'll say bye to everyone, and then I'll just play it because I think it just is like a little memorial thing. So yeah, let me say bye to everyone and I'll play this as well. And I need to make a little video of her too, like a nice video with music that shows all her pictures. So I think I'm going to work on that tonight so I can hopefully have it ready for tomorrow. Because like I said, I plan on going. What's a good time tomorrow for you guys? I'm thinking an earlier live. I'm not going to be able to live stream the whole thing tomorrow because I do have to do something during the day, but I'm thinking an earlier live. So what's a good time for you guys? And put Pacific Standard Time or Eastern Standard Time in the chat. I'm thinking anytime between 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay, I'm thinking between 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and later. So let me know what you think works good. And while you guys are putting that in chat, I'll start saying bye to everyone, and then I'm going to play the last clip, and then I think we're good. So, oh, Kentucky, did you just get here? Well, I'm happy that you're here. But, yeah, we're about to end it. I'm going to play one more clip, but I'm saying bye to everyone. But, yeah, thank you for coming here. I'm sad that you missed it. But yes, thank you for coming. So, hi, Kentucky. Jay says anytime after 5. Kentucky, what's a good time for you tomorrow? Because I'm covering this case. I'm not going to be able to show it for the whole. I'm not going to be able to live stream the whole trial tomorrow. But I can do it anytime 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or later. So let me know what a good time for you is in chat. Let me see who else is here. I know Alsane, you're here. Thank you, Misfit. Thank you for being here. And thank you for gifting. Mark, thank you for being here. Edward, thank you for being here. Jariah, thank you for being here. I know Roxanne was here. I know Butterfly Kisses was here. Let me, Jocko or Yako, thank you. Let me see. Princess, of course. Max Smith. Okay, I think I'm not being able to scroll. Fred. Okay, Fred, hello. And I don't think that's 2-foot Fred, because I remember 2-foot Fred. I don't know if you guys do, but I think this is a different Fred. Let me see. Okay, I think that's everyone. Oh, Clumsy, Clumsy. How could I forget Clumsy? I gotta put everyone. You can put my dog in chat. We gotta change my dog to Arf Arf. Ash Cash. All right, everyone. Oh, Judge Maddie, yes, and Melissa was here, and Laughing Stock was here. Is that everyone? Oh, Lefty was here. Lori was here. Okay, I think I'm getting everybody. Okay. Did I have everybody? K-Braze. How could I forget K-Braze? That would have been horrible of me to forget K-Braze. Alley Cattails. I think Stacy C. Thistle, thank you for being here. I hope you come back. Ellie. Okay, I think I'm almost done. I'm literally almost at the top. Darlene, of course. Thank you. Darlene's been a regular here, so thank you, Darlene. Mama Bear. I almost forgot Mama Bear. I'm such a bad person. Richie. Okay, I think, do I have everyone? How many times have I said I think I had everyone? Like 20, 25, 30? Scrolling. Okay. If I don't have, oh, Grateful Ed. Okay, I found Dom S. I found 2 more. Okay, I already said Richie. Okay, if I don't see you, if I just send me an email if I didn't say your name. All right, are we good? Okay, I'm gonna play the last thing. If I didn't say your name, just send me an email and say that, Jay, I didn't forget you. You're making a joke. I think. I'm pretty sure. If I didn't, I know I said your name. I had to, right? If I didn't say Jay, then Jay, of course. Okay, I'm playing this though. So hope if it cuts me off, it may cut me off, then oh well, I'm ending it anyways. But this is the final hours of Amie Harwick. It's just a couple minutes. So rest in peace, Amie. For some reason, I still don't have my emojis. I only have my YouTube emojis, so I can't put a heart or prayer hands or anything. I don't know what's going on with my emojis. It sucks because I'm like a big emoji person. So if everyone in chat could put hearts or prayer hands for me, since I can't do it, that would be great. But everyone, I hope you have a great night and or day, whatever time that you're at. And again, let me know what time works for you. And I will see you guys. Well, I guess I won't say tomorrow. I will see you guys today. Can you believe that? It's going to be 2 and 24 hours or less than that. But yes. All right. I'm playing that. Please put a 1 or 1111 if you can see it and if you can hear it. And happy, well, not happy Labor Day anymore, but I hope you guys had a happy Labor Day. And goodbye, or goodbye for now.
I think about Amie in the most positive ways. Obviously, really beautiful. Like, she was smart. She had a PhD, master's degree. She cared so much about helping people. That was her life's purpose.
This is Dr. Amie Harwick, licensed marriage and family therapist.
I think about her every single day.
It's The Price is Right. Here's your host, Drew Carey.
I'd like to introduce you to my brand new lovely fiance, Amie. How you doing, Amie?
Have you ever had that rush of excitement when you meet somebody new?
If this was this great love, and what happened?
Well, we had some problems. Finally just had to call it a day.
So it didn't work out, but they were still friends. They were still amicable.
Breakups suck. It's true. It's going to bring up feelings of anger, sadness. That's normal.
Before she had finished her education and pursued her career path, and I knew her as this gorgeous fire dancer model.
I was a professional dancer. I ate fire just to get through school at the time.
You don't have to have a significant impairment to see a therapist.
She was one of my best friends. She was somebody that I went to a lot when I was confused or hurt or wanted advice.
She's one of those once-in-a-lifetime friends.
She called several of her closest friends to sort of let people know that she had run into this dangerous ex of hers.
When is the last time you saw and talked to Amie Harwick?
Amie and her friends came to my show, Beauty of Burlesque for Valentine's Day.
Was she happy that night?
So happy.
This picture was taken when?
After the show in the lobby. That was our last conversation.
I had asked her, I was like, please come to the after party with me. And of course, maybe if she came with me, it would have changed the trajectory of events.
Police say Harwick, a famed Hollywood therapist, was killed Saturday.
She fought for 6 minutes. Her last moments on earth were 6 minutes.
She was found injured beneath a balcony at her Hollywood Hills home. The 38-year-old later died at the hospital.
This case, to me, is a stalking case.
Has everyone else kind of looking back through their exes going, is anyone capable of that?
This is a man, if true, who is obsessing.
When I heard that she got murdered, right away I thought, oh, it's got to be that guy.